Can you guys hear me? Let's see. All right, everyone, can you hear me? Yes, no. All right, excellent. Oh, we got Neil on. Look at that. Let's adjust my fader here. Not that it matters, because it doesn't. Let's see if this thing. Wait 1 second. I don't know. I'm just gonna hope it's picking up this microphone here and not the computer microphone, but you can't trust YouTube, so let's just get started. All right. Let me open the chat up here on my phone. Okay, that's all turned off, and let's get started. So, first couple orders of business. The last stream, we literally just sat here and talked, and that's all we did. That's what we'll do again today, because that seemed like it worked last time, and everybody enjoyed that. So that is going to be today's plan, and aside from that, that's what we're going to do. Just don't be a weirdo, and I think we'll have a perfectly good time. Then none of you are weirdos. So let's get going here. With the stupid phone. Well, there we go. So we have Neil on. Neil, if you guys have not seen Neil in the comments, he's a veteran, like a real British veteran. So he has some really good comments. Stuff. Drenat says he has arrived. I have in fact arrived, and the audio seems to be somewhat okay, so we'll keep going here. Strip says, you're running fine, fam. Actually, great for live stream. Yeah, well, the thing is with the live stream is you're sitting here talking to yourself, and you don't actually know if it's working or not. So you're reliant on the internet to basically tell you if you're doing okay. So Dreadnought asks, how many duels have you gotten in since the last live stream? I have not gotten into any duels since the last live stream. I have not dueled Brandon. You remembered. Maybe that's something to do, is to duel Brandon. Live on YouTube, we will do Brandon. But that seems like it's more like HBO content. It seems like paid content. I don't know if that's I don't know if you can duel someone for free. It seems like there's just too much litigation involved to warrant something like that. The Noble Moonshiner says, hello, I live in a 300-year-old Norwegian house, and I have some videos you definitely want to see in your free time. 300-year-old Norwegian house. That probably, in America, they'd want to make one of those ghost hunting shows about it, because everything that's old needs a ghost hunting show. So, don't tell what is it? I don't even know what channel that's on. Anyway, they're kind of hokey, though, as you would imagine. Ian Graves says, can't you duel in an MA of the government? Is there? Does that even make sense? Can't you duel in Massachusetts if the government is there? I don't know if that makes logical sense to me. Moonshiner says, it's in the district of Hedeland. I have no idea where that is in Norway. I'll have to look that up, because I don't know my Norwegian geography. I don't live in Norway, so wild. Dreadnought says, do you do reenacting outside of the 10th? I had, and then I just don't have the time now. Being a sergeant of the 10th Foot, I just have now run out of time to do any other periods for the time being. So the World War I stuff and all this stuff that you kind of usually see on this channel is probably for the time being going to be relegated to the channel and not actually doing anything real outside of this. There's just not a whole lot of time now. So that's just the way life is. But if you've seen the videos that Chris has made of the Men of Harlech charity march, there's some good World War I content of me in there, and you'll see me there. But that's as most as you're going to see, I think, for the time being. Ian says a mass and governor. $8248 Angelina says, yo, how is it going? It is going great. We have 17 people on, which is about what we had on before last time. That wasn't like the peak, but it's about what was average. But you guys seem a lot more hesitant to comment this time around. Last time you guys were just like boop, 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 boop. So I'm not sure what's going on here. Is it too early in the morning or is it too late in the afternoon for you people in Europe? Maybe that's what's going on here. You guys are too tired. It's time to go to bed. It's 4 p.m. in Britain. Everyone's like, let's just go to bed. It's Saturday. It doesn't matter anymore. Neil Morrison says the back of your wall of the back wall of our garden is from 1756. That's pretty cool. 1756 is a good year, especially if you're a artillery carbine. The artillery carbine is also from 1756. It's kind of wild how you get these buildings that are so old and they're still here, or bits of them are still here, and it's kind of cool actually. The Historian says, congratulations on almost 2K subscribers. Yes, we're almost there. What are we at now? Let's go check it. Let's go check the page and the active total. Let's see. What are we at today? I haven't checked actually. Let's go to analytics. If it loads, probably using all the bandwidth to stream here, so it doesn't want to do it. So give me a second. We're at 1977. So what is it? Jimmy Carter president now, or is that there's still it's Ford still? Yeah, so we're almost there. So close. 1977. Okay, so that's a great year. So almost there. Thank you, Historian. We'll get there. Hopefully, maybe in the next week. 2,000 people. That's what in 1775. That's about 4 or 5 battalions of men. So we do good for Lord Howe's army. CJ says hi. Hi, CJ. Long time no see. Only saw you on Wednesday. Ian Graves says comment. Great job, Ian. Great comment. So profound. William, Duke of Normans says, good morning, sir. How are you? The Duke of Normans was previously at Gaslight Studios, but he has now changed to be more French, as is his bit. Winston Stone says, nothing to comment about as of yet. We'll think of something. It's okay. It could be the worst thing ever. Neil Morrison says, you should try the Mad Minute exercise with your Lee Enfield. Yeah, I actually need to do stuff with the Lee Enfield. I just haven't had any range time in the past since actually this channel was founded with the, what video was it? That was number, how many videos were we in when we did that one? We're in a couple videos in. I don't remember how many videos were in. How many videos were we in? We were 4 videos in. Well, I haven't really had any time to shoot since then or anything. So we got to do some more Lee Enfield videos. And sorry, Dreadnought, I missed your comment that said, do a room tour. Maybe we should do a room tour video. Maybe that can be a special video or something. Can't do it here right now because my microphone, I couldn't find the long cord. So it's plugged into this short Sony cord I had here. So can't really move anything. So that's not going to happen now. Because otherwise, if I move the computer, it will take out the microphone as well. So it's not very ideal in this instance. Winston So says Jimmy Carter. Okay, there we go. That's the exact year. Dreadnought says, make a rap roasting Brandon. Regrettably, I don't think I can make a rap roasting Brandon, as I don't know how to rap. And secondly, Brandon's been really good in helping me navigate the YouTube sphere. So I don't know if that's it's been a good mate. I don't know if that'd be appropriate. William Duke Norman says, haha, I'm doing all right. How about you, Sergeant? The Sergeant is doing all right. The Sergeant hat is here. It's so big and shiny. Look at that. It's amazing. Look at those tassels. Except this hat has never been worn, so it needs to be sweat in. So we'll see how that goes. Oliver Bones says, let's all get a ship and become privateers together. I know some shanties. As long as you're just a privateer and you don't get on that private line, then the pirate line, then you're okay. Because pirates hang on the Thames. He says you need to practice to be able to meet the standards for the required standard, perhaps. Yes. And the Mad Minute basically comes from, I think it's practice 13. It's not technically as formal as we necessarily make it out to be as people seem to make it on the internet. It's basically just practice 13, and I think it's 15 rounds at 300 yards or something. I don't want to make it up because people on the internet make it up all the time. I have the musketry regulations somewhere, but we're not going to spend a live stream trying to find practice 13 in the musketry regulations. I have an original copy somewhere, but I don't think it's up here. No, it's not up here, so we're not going to go look at it right now. CJ says, very nice hat. Yes, it is a very nice hat. The tassels are somewhat annoying when they go across the plated brass. So we're going to see how that goes. It's just like, but they're really pretty tassels. Neil says, British muzzleloaders will give you the required skills. Yes, he will. If you guys already don't watch British muzzleloaders, you should. That's the Commonwealth shooting channel that you can find on the internet. So go check him out. I'm sure you already know about him. I've met Rob 2018 or something. Really nice guy. And of course, he makes really great content. Neil Morrison says, oh, wait, I missed a couple here. Neil's coming with the good questions or in comments today. So Willie says, hi, Jonathan. Hope your channel is growing so fast and well deserved. It's great to join your second live stream. Thank you for joining us on the second live stream. Hopefully we'll do these more often. As long as I get the longer cord too, it'll make this a little easier. But audio is good today, so we're doing dandy. But yeah, I'll try and space these out at different times because I know the viewer base is from here on Eastern Standard Time all the way around the globe and back. So yeah, we'll try and do these interspersed because in the last one we did it in the night and it wasn't very convenient for people in Europe. So this one is a little more convenient for Europe because it's anywhere from 4 p.m. and later in Europe. So this one works, I think, a little better for them. Dreadnought says, have you had a fan that you never knew before recognize you? Yes. I mean, I think that's actually in the meeting Ian McCollum video from July or August. I met a fan in public at the Ian meet and greet, and I was a little taken back because I didn't expect that. But though, if there was a place to ever meet anybody, that was probably the place. So not a real surprise there. But if you check that video out, you can see me meeting Tony, and Tony is in that video. And I have a picture with Tony somewhere that Tony sent me. But yes, Tony was the first one I'd ever met in public. And it says, my father always used to boast he was sorry, too far away. My father always used to boast his marksman grade. Yep, that sounds like a marksman. My friend Josh, who was in the Coast Guard, likes to do that too. They're good at that. Here, the Duke of the Normans is talking about his 250 event. Yes, always have cheaper hotels. Well, you don't need cheaper hotels if you camp. It's fine. If Captain Stone of my company can camp out, and you can do it too. Okay, anyone can camp. If Winston can camp, you can camp. I don't want to hear anything else. Winston's been doing this for like 50 years. If anyone else should be able to still camp. Do you have a favorite war song, military fighting song? I think it might just be Lily Bolero because that's just a standard piece. That's really special to me because we were marching through the field at Monmouth in 2018. It's absolutely silent. We're marching through a cornfield, and there's just Lily Bolero on the fife. That's a really special feeling there. You feel like you're in 1778. So I think Lily Bolero might be my favorite war song. I mean, I know it's not a war song, but in that instance, particularly in the 18th century, it's a war song. Engraves, Mr. Fancy having viewers all over. Yes, we're at 20 viewers. That's viewers in general. Oh, we're talking about live stream viewers, maybe. I don't know. Context isn't a real thing on the chat here. Your favorite Victorian British war movie? Assuming we're doing that takes place in the Victorian period. I guess it's probably Zulu. It's just because it's such a standard film, and it's art. It's general. It's art. I mean, how it took place in South Africa and apartheid and everything. I think it's. Actually, had a conversation with Ian Graves about this last night. Again, World Blue Traders, check them out if you need 18th century clothing. But yeah, it's a special film, and I think it deserves a lot of credit. It does have some iffy material culture here and there, but if you look at it as a whole piece of art and that it's a really good film. So I think that's my favorite. Though there are lots of other good ones. The Four Feathers television movie is actually a particularly good one. Cartoon's a good one. They're all pretty good. Though the cartoon and painting people to be Middle Eastern hasn't necessarily aged very well, and you can tell they look white. But besides that, that's a good film too. Angelina says, "I'm stuck on the phone with my mother." I'm sorry, Angelina. You could just tell her that you're very busy right now. You're on a live stream, and that's more important than talking to her. Though you and Ian can figure that out, I'm sure. Neil says his favorite Victorian war film is Zulu. There you go. That's it. Neil said it's his favorite Zulu, so that's really all we need to know right there. Winston says 46. Yeah, so almost 50. Winston's been doing this for 46 years. So again, if you can't camp, if Winston can camp after 46 years, you should be able to camp too. No excuses. Common Man says it's always Zulu. I mean, it basically is. I mean, there are so many good ones, but Zulu is kind of the peak, I think. But that's my opinion. Duke of Norman says, fair enough. St. Michael's is a pretty town, but in the summer it's a tinderbox. Lots of opportunities for large amounts of dead grass to incinerate if anyone doesn't pay attention to the fire. And that's why everyone is required to carry a fire extinguisher when you're having a real fire at an event. Is that a real fire? Oh my god. Winston says, Khartoum, Four Feathers, Charge the Light Brigade. Yep, that's a pretty good roster right there. I do like Charge the Light Brigade too. It's a pretty cool one because it seems like it captures it pretty well. And now we'll have Ottoman reenactor saying, there are your guns. He'll say that for the 50th time. And I'm going to get added by Ottoman reenactor. New Morrison says, Carry Up the Khyber. Yeah, I've seen clips of Carry Up the Khyber. That's a kind of interesting film, but I've never actually been able to find it here on any sort of American streaming service, so I have not actually watched it in its entirety. But it has some good scenes from the clips that I've seen. Will says, Band of Brothers is my favorite movie of all time. Isn't that more of a mini-series than it is a film? I guess it's an extended film if we are going to be esoteric about what a mini-series is. Does Young Winston count as a Victorian war film? It does, I think, technically count as a Victorian war film. It's a good one with what's his name? Can't remember his name. Wow, that's embarrassing. He's in a lot of things. He's a pretty good actor. That's a good film. Neil Morrison says it's hilarious. Yeah, the scenes I've seen of Carry Up the Khyber are very, very funny. So I gotta watch that sometime. I guess it's more of a little more of a niche film, so it's harder to find. Though even actually on streaming services in the United States, um, just things like Zulu are hard to find. Well says yeah, it's a miniseries. Yeah, so I guess it's again miniseries. I guess are just extended films. The Noble Moonshiner says, "I'm going to play Zulu on Roblox with my friend in the afternoon." Roblox, I've seen Roblox seems to be very popular with some of the viewers of this channel and Chris's channel and Brandon's channel. So what's up with that? I remember Roblox from like 15 years ago. That's the last time I touched Roblox. No. Yeah, probably 15 years ago. Ian Graves says, no, it doesn't because Winston isn't young and was born in the 20th century. Hey, Ian, I think Winston's about to at you in the comments section or in real life. Winston says Simon Ward. Yes, that's who plays young Winston in the from the late '60s, early '70s, from young Winston, which is good. That's the one where I think he stands. Was that the one where he stands on top of the rail car and he's like, "I'm the king of the world" or something like that. Winston Churchill was a wild individual. A lot of great stories with that human being. He's kind of a cool figure. Very complicated figure too. Neil Morrison says Kim is another good film from the Victorian era, but not the Patch in the Book. I've never old that. Yes, that's another good one. They Shall Not Grow Old is a really good one. That's Peter Jackson. What's cool about They Shall Not Grow Old is Peter Jackson's like, oh, we need a Foley for this field piece, so I'm just gonna pull out my field piece that I have in my collection. When you made a lot of money from the Lord of the Rings, you just do that. It's kind of cool. CJ, the history person, says Roblox is fun. I wouldn't remember. It's been so long. All I remember back then is we all were like, is this back 15 years ago, we're like, is this discount? Is this discount Minecraft? Because we can get it for free. Roblox Waterloo on Discord. How does that even work? What is Roblox Duke of Wellington? Is how does Neil Morrison says Winston Churchill born 1874. Yes, that's true. So he's very much a Victorian. But I think Ian was adding Winston Stone, Captain Lieutenant of the Colonel's Company, or in proper term, Captain Lieutenant of the Colonel's Company. 10th Regiment of Foot. Dreadnought says, sleep with one eye open, Ian. Yeah, Ian, I think you probably should. It's because you're about to get added by Winston Stone. So when he comes to, maybe you shouldn't make him that new coat because you're going to have to see him in person. Duke of the Normans again says, you watched the old BBC series on World War I from the 1960s. I have not. I have not seen that. There's only so much I can see in a day, and I didn't even know that existed, to be quite frank with you. Will says his collection is amazing. Yes, Peter Jackson's collection is amazing. Pure nerd. 100%. Guys, that guy's cool. I'm glad that he spent all of his Lord of the Rings money on all this cool stuff. A lot of cool stuff. What's cool about the They Shall Not Grow Old film is that, we need then a Foley for the sound of the artillery firing. So I'm just going to hit up the New Zealand Army and be like, hey, at your range practice day, can we record you? That would be great. Great. Peter Jackson's great. Glad he spent that money wisely. Angelina says Here, I'm now watching you from my other account on my phone. Lol, the 2 second delay is great. So, thank you, Angelina and Ian, for watching it on as many devices as possible. You're really helping watch time right now. I think in terms of watch time, I think YouTube says we're at just over 2,000 hours of watch time. I don't know what that means. They just say that on the monetization area for this is what you need. You need 4,000 hours of watch time. But that's the only reason I know how many hours of watch time I have, or at least whatever period it says. So YouTube's great when it comes to watch time stuff because it's kind of weird. YouTube's an interesting platform. It's totally not trash. Now I'm gonna get shadow banned. Winston Stone says no. I think that's because Winston Stone is I don't know what Winston's referencing. Maybe he's adding Ian again. Comma Man says, all hail the algorithm. That's right, flamingelmo.gif. If you don't know what flamingelmo.gif is, go look up the Flaming Elmo GIF because that is literally how YouTube works. It is standing behind a fire and be like, yes, YouTube, please save me, senpai, or something, some BS like that. I don't. YouTube's social media is wild. Don't do it. I don't know why I'm doing this. It's terrible. It's wretched. You guys are fun though, so that's why I do it. Dreadnought says, "How many voices do you have in your head?" Too many, Dreadnought. Too many. Are we talking about voices that I can say, or voices that are just in my head talking that I can't replicate? Because those are two entirely different questions, old boy. CJ, the history person, says, YouTube is interesting. Yes, YouTube is interesting. That is the correct term for it. It's really fun. It's also not fun at the same time, mostly because of how YouTube is as a corporation isn't always ideal. It's certain things have gotten better in terms of like misinformation and stuff, but it's kind of a wild frontier on YouTube sometimes. Angelina says, "I'm Flaming Elmo." I love Flaming Elmo. Yes, Flaming Elmo is a GIF that is golden. For if you guys have seen the Men of Harlech charity march, there's a group chat for all of us guys who have done it, and for a while there, flamingelmo.gif was used for an awfully long time, more than is probably healthy. Comment says, "You need to tell the people to smash that like button." That's right, everybody. Smash that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Oh God, I sound like Peter McKinnon or something. Peter McKinnon he makes content on making videos and stuff. Yeah. So smash that like button, everybody. Helps me get views. Helps my engagement time. Makes YouTube be like, "Hey, watch his videos. It's great." But sometimes YouTube will just say that your video is bad, even though it's just because they didn't recommend it to people. It's fine. The thumbnail wasn't engaging enough. Though then YouTube will like 5 months later decide, hey, go watch this video, and sometimes the video will just like pop up. Chris particularly has this problem. The video or anything will just be like, oh look, it's trending again. The internet's wild, man. Humanity was not ready for the internet. It is required. You must. Here is Germany. Hi, here is Germany. Where is Germany? Is Germany still relevant? Are they still trying to take over Europe? Angelina says, not as wild as TikTok. Yeah, TikTok is, oh man. Though, TikTok's probably the Chinese just mining your data anyway, so I'm not sure. That's a totally different story. Best British generals of all time, in my opinion, Wellington, Slim, Marlborough, in that order. Yeah, I think that's probably a pretty good list right there. Particularly on Slim. Slim, I don't think gets enough credit in the grand scheme of things with the 14th Army in Burma. Great general, kept his army together, fought the Japanese, pushed them back, Kohima, everybody. Was really good at making sure the uniforms were modified to work in the jungles of Burma. He's like, shorts are not good in Burma because, well, people get bit by mosquitoes and they get diseased, and it's getting disease is never good for an army, and is historically been the worst thing for the army throughout history. So yeah, Slim's a really good one on there. Gets oftentimes forgotten. Um, Marlborough is a good one. Never became a field marshal. That's a whole different story, though. But he, right there at the beginning of the 18th century. I think those are some pretty solid choices there. Wellington. I know. I have a friend whose name is we will not worry about here, but he's in my company. He's like Wellington's overrated. Well, he basically says that Wellington's overrated at Waterloo, but Wellington before Waterloo was kicking quite a bit of ass um, in Spain in the Peninsular War. So not overrated. Wellington is perfectly rated, I think. Have you seen Girls und Panzer? I don't know what that is. Not sure if I need to or want to. Girls und Panzer sounds like it's either at auto corrected or it's weird. So I don't know. Dreadnought says YouTube is a very beautiful, safe platform that would never do anything bad to the creators. Hail Susan Witch. Yeah, YouTube's great. It's a wasteland. It's not ideal. It's fun though, and it's a really good way to connect with people and everything. So um, yeah, but I've enjoyed my time here on YouTube so far. So I get probably shadow banned for something like everybody else. I don't know. I don't ever know how YouTube works. Winston says Ian is a cheeky monkey and always has been. He was also born in the 20th century. That's right. Ian also was born in the 20th century. Though Ian will admit he's basically a boomer. Ask me about IP addresses, and if I go on different devices, the IP addresses are different. I didn't know that. So Ian's a good guy. Again, if you need 18th century clothing, I recommend him more than anyone else because it's basically Henry Cook's another good one, but Henry always has a massive backlog because Henry does a lot of museum work. So I think Ian is a good choice. He made my sergeant's coat, which there has been no video on yet. And for the price of what Ian is, you would think it will look expensive, but it's really not. Ian is only $100, $200 more than some of the quote cheaper options, but you're getting a fully hand finished garment. So why not just go to Ian? So Ian always has a queue too, so you need to be mindful of that if you ever want 18th century clothing. But again, go to Ian, good guy. Pax Europa says, same thing happened to me. My World War II British Army issue pithab was confiscated by eBay. And I don't know where you live in New Hampshire, so I don't know the affected range. Yes, so this seems to be a common thing with eBay's international shipping program. Anytime with certain bits of militaria, particularly helmets, they'll use what is the best word to call it? It's a U.S. regulation called ITAR, which is basically you can't import things of military value, ammunition, atomic weapons, vessels, all those kinds of things. Not helmets. Helmets are not in this ITAR regulation, but they use that to confiscate stuff through eBay's global shipping program. I'm not entirely sure why, because none of this stuff goes under ITAR. It's just seemingly an excuse that they use. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on, to be honest with you, but it's definitely a problem. And I know other people have had the problem. I think we're up to 4 or 5 people now. It happened to my friend Josh when he ordered a helmet too. But if you're ordering anything on Militaria and you happen to be living in the United States and you're ordering it from somewhere in Europe or anywhere else, I make sure it's not being shipped through the eBay global shipping program because it will potentially be confiscated. And then eBay will give you a stupid runaround and come up with all the excuses that this is restricted, blah, 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 blah. If you want to know more, go check out that video because that's a whole thing. Anyway, God, I'm being long-winded here and the comments are starting to back up. CJ says, I just had a video that got 1,000 views randomly. Congratulations, CJ. Yes, and that's how YouTube works. It just happens. Lots of reasons why, and you're not necessarily always sure of why. Christopher says, "Oh, hey, I made it. Happy you could join us, Chris." Dronut says, "Ian just got told." Ian did just get told. Well, he just got told a little bit ago because I'm not very proactive here with the comments. Yes, Ian did just get told. He got added, as the youth of the generation would say. Comma Man says, "I mean, everything is just data mining at this point," and that is true. Everything is data mining. If you don't want to have your data be mined, don't go on the internet, because regrettably, that is what the internet is. It's everyone selling your data. So just, if you don't want people tracking you, mining your data, just don't go on the internet. I mean, they're mining us right now. Gordon Goldstenberg says, "Shorts are the work of the Antichrist. It is clearly not a superior French invention. Must be German." If we're talking about the shorts of the British Army, they actually are very British. They're the most British thing you could ever think of. Ever seen British school children? Shorts. Not ideal for jungle fighting. Great, actually, if you're on a garrison duty throughout Southeast Asia or India. But yeah, when you start going through the jungle, they're not always the best things. Though I think it sometimes gets played up a little bit, because if you actually are marching through a rubber plantation, say in like Malaya, it's very open. It's very open. There's not as much jungle as you necessarily think of, say, in like the 1940s in British Malaya. It's a lot of rubber plantations. And you know what? You can take a tank right down the rows of the rubber trees. Yep. Malaya is not the dense jungle you think it is. It has roads. Dreadnought says, "Have you ever gotten into crypto?" No, I'm not a crypto bro. I mean, I think it's not that I have a problem with crypto. It's just that I just don't always think. I don't know. Let's not get into crypto right now. We don't have time for that. Neil says, "My dad remembers starting in Burma in shorts and a solar toppy." Yeah, that was the standard uniform in the early war in the Far East. It looks really good. It's just not practical when you get into necessarily dense jungle situations like Burma. And it's a nice look. Neil's dad, potentially, more than likely, was issued a toppy like this. This is the khaki Sola pith hat in its official nomenclature and designation. It's pretty iconic to the war in Southeast Asia, particularly in Burma. Um, the troops in Malaya also wore these, but a lot of times you see them just wearing their steel helmets. It's really hard with the Malaya campaign because, well, a lot of people were captured, and so the photography there is not as much as it could be, though we have a good amount of it. All right. God, wow. I'm really getting. Comment says, "TBH, everything about Burma and CBI gets forgotten all the time," and it does. It really does get forgotten. For multitudes of reasons. We always talk about the war in the Europe or Americans fighting the Japanese in the Pacific as they are island hopping, but the war in Burma and China is very real and very active. It's an important part of Second World War history. So yeah, it's a shame that it gets forgotten. It's definitely gotten a little more recognition in the past few years. A little disappointing that the road to Mandalay isn't getting read, as that's a big part of that whole campaign in Malaya. But we don't have time for that either. Christopher says, "Wait, Ian got told and I missed it?" Yes, Chris, Ian got told and you missed it, though I'm sure he'll get told again if he says something cheeky. Gordon Goldensberg says, "Ern, Rommel, and Monty are overrated, in my opinion." Yes, they are somewhat overrated. Though, when we talk about North Africa, the Ak, look him up. good big general in North Africa. He doesn't nearly get as much credit, and he gets a lot of crap. But he's actually was a very good general and was a very good Indian Army general. So he also doesn't get credit. Everyone knows Monty. It's all about Monty. So think sometimes Monty is the only British general that anybody knows, at least in this country, because it's like Monty, North Africa, Market Garden, Europe. But there's so many other good British generals besides Montgomery. Chris says, it's an anime. I'll show it to you. Oh, God. Please hope it's not. Oh, God. Please, God, no. William, Duke of Normans, again says, top 5 generals of the 18th century. 19th centuries, 1 Napoleon, 2 Frederick, 3 Cornwallis, 4 Wellington, 5 Surovov, or whatever his name is there. I'm not good with Russians in that part of the world. Napoleon's probably good. I just don't. I'm just gonna skip this because then might have to give Napoleon credit for something, and that just won't do. That's not very English. And this channel primarily focuses on the British Commonwealth and the Empire, so we can't do that. That won't do. So we're just gonna move on here. Wellington's greatest victory in his opinion is yes, yes, that is yes, and that's a big victory. That's true. No Morrison hitting it on the head there. Nick Woodbury says, "Hey, A back to you, Nick. A back." Comment: it's animes fighting girls in tanks for sport. Actually, I may have heard of this before. It probably came up somewhere before, so I think I might know it. I think there's a bunch of memes that were made off of that. Actually, I don't want to go put that in my search bar though. Pax Europa says, same thing happened to me in with my World War II British Army issue pith helmet that was confiscated by eBay after bought it. I don't know where you. Oh, scrolling weird. I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit here, guys, because I'm getting lost here. Do you consider your channel to be S tier? I think we're more like. I think we're like a Z tier channel, guys. It's not. I don't know if we're even S tier. But maybe I don't even know what S tier is. So tell me what S tier is. Maybe I don't even know what we're talking about here. As much as Ian likes to tell me that I'm so on the internet, I'm not as on the about the internet as you think I am. Kilt is good in hot weather, surprisingly. Yes, that actually makes sense. Though probably not ideal in North America as with the Highlanders and their kilts. That just sounds like they did wear them in North America, but it does probably stay very cool. So, but it has to be worn properly. Yes, his pith hat would have been tartan patch and stag's head. Yeah, I think the Highlanders they have some pretty cool. There's some pretty cool looks there with the Highlanders. Well, I don't have any Highland kits, so maybe that's something in the future. But this channel makes no money, so I don't know if we have a budget for that. Russell says, my friends all agree we need a movie miniseries about Kohima or the Burma campaign. Yeah. I think that would be really cool. There isn't really, in general, a whole lot of films about the Far East. I mean, there's some good ones that I think, like Empire of the Sun's a good one, but that addresses civilian life of people getting captured at Shanghai from the British concession there. So, but there really isn't anything good about Burma, really, that I'd say is decent. I mean, there's like Railway Man, which addresses the Death Railway. That's a pretty good film. I mean, there was a recent Amazon series about the Indian National Front League or whatever. But we're not going to address that here because I have some opinions about that. But that was not made very well, and that is about the guys who were some of the Indian soldiers who were captured at Singapore and joined the Japanese, which was a very small percentage of the British Indian Army. It was actually very upsetting to a lot of people captured at Singapore. But we're not going to get into that because I'll get added in the comment section about that. But I sometimes don't like how that gets talked about because then people are like, oh, those traitorous Indians. No, it was a very small percentage of Indians. And sometimes they thought they were fighting for what was right for the freedom of their country too. So that's a whole thing, which we don't have time to go into right now. Neil Morrison says Rama was a good battalion commander in World War One. Yes, that he was. He was a very good commander in World War One, actually. Christopher says, "Hey, speaking of CBI and New Hampshire, you know about the General Merrill Memorial on the side of I-93?" I don't actually. That'd be interesting to know about. I don't. Napoleon Good. Neil says Napoleon Good early on became brute force in later career. Yeah, that pretty much summarizes it. And Europe's first dictator. Dreadnought says best general of the 18th century was Prince Eugene of Savoy, in my opinion. Pretty good general, yeah. I guess we can. Probably not a hot take. A lot of really good generals in the 18th century. Duke of the Normans says Cornwallis is probably my favorite British general, brought Washington to the brink of total defeat. Yeah, Cornwallis is a really good general. The British generals, generally in the American War of Independence, don't get as much credit as they are due. Maybe because they lost, etc. But in many instances, in most of the engagements of the war, uh, George W. was on the run. Hashtag Battle of Long Island. Hashtag New York campaign. Basically, much of the war. Washington got lucky because he was able to skedaddle, and then he got lucky at Trenton. So that did really well for him. Worst general in the 18th century was Bonnie Prince Charlie. Probably. I actually don't know much about that. Probably was though. Yeah. If you think about it. Sam K. Militaria says hi. How are you? Chris says Bridge over the River Kwai. Yes, that's a pretty good film. It definitely doesn't capture the brutality of the Japanese during the building of the Death Railway nearly as much. It's definitely leans towards anti-war, but I like that film. That's a pretty seminal film in my personal history. I like that one. It's a good one though. Dreadnought deleted his message. Ship says, "Look up Panzer on the lake, then girls under Panzer of the lake." Do we though? Do we? Do we though? Dreadnought says, "What food takes you down to Flavortown?" Takes me to Flavortown? I don't know. I like a lot of foods. I, good old Cantonese cuisine is pretty much my standard go to. So that pretty much is my go to Flavortown. But I like most foods. Um, so nothing special there. I don't really like liver though. I don't like raw tomatoes. That's pretty much it. Everything else is pretty much I'm game for. And I like liver. I just don't like the concept of liver. Don't like it on a conceptual level. Chris says the memorial is in just about before the Nash was southbound. It's for him and Merrill's Marauders because Merrill was the head of New Hampshire dot when he died. Oh, I'll have to look into that. That's kind of cool, actually. Actually, though, while we're talking about the Burma campaign, if you ever look at Google Maps, there are there are all these roads, particularly in America, that are called the Burma Road or Burma Road. Obviously, the Burma Road is a real thing in Burma for bringing supplies to the Chinese. But in America, we have all these roads named Burma Road. Is it because of that campaign? Does anyone have any information on that? Because I've looked it up multiple times. I can't find anything about why we named all these Burma roads the Burma Road in America. So if anyone has anything on that, please let me know. Maybe it's because of some veterans or something like that, but I'd really like to know. Maybe that's a video topic. So if someone has information, let me know at me somewhere. But that's a thing. I do have channel social media now. So if you guys want to check it out in the comments, the description section, or on the about section of the page. Because I do have social media now, and that's probably the easiest way to reach out to me. So thank you guys. Duke of the Mormon says, I mean, how was lethargic? Clinton was was a non-entity, and Burgoyne was frankly incompetent, but nearly all of their subordinates were excellent. Cornwallis lost only one battle in his entire career. Yeah, Cornwallis was the best general of the army. Now, I think Howe gets too much, gets too much. How would we put it? What is the best word here? Gets a little in the youth of American term, gets shit on a little too much. Now you can say that Howe was lethargic, but particularly in a lot of campaigns, you're dealing with tens of thousands of men, and I don't necessarily know if we understand what it takes to run 1,000 men on the field, and what it takes, basically, especially particularly in Long Island. Howe didn't want to take these mass casualties and all these different kinds of things with massive frontal assaults. So it's very, when you see Howe's actions in the war, I don't think you can necessarily call it lethargic. It might look lethargic, but I think he gets a lot of, he gets added in the comment section, and I don't think all of it's fair because you're balancing a lot of things there. Pax Europa says, I recommend the channel British Victorian Campaign Medals on YouTube. He has a different video and does a quick presentation of each of the medals of the Victorian era. I think I might have seen him, actually. I see a lot of things, but I don't always remember them. There's a lot of YouTube content. It's hard to keep up, and I make my own content, so I don't even know where the hell I am half the time. Goldsteinberg says, do you have a favorite railroad or railway? That's a very specific kind of question. Gordon, are we talking about history, like a local railway of mine, or a railway that has cool locomotives, or something like that? Let me know, because I think it changes. Or like a British railway. I particularly like. If we're talking about British locomotives, I personally like the LNER system, the LNER, because they have some really pretty locomotives and the fastest locomotives. So that's my preference. Gonna get added by Colton though. Ian says Angelina's cooking takes you to Flavortown. Angelina, yes. The insignificant other Angelina does take me to Flavortown. Oh God, this sounds terrible. This sounds terrible. Yes, she's a really good cook. Ian's a good cook too. It's just a little more English. And English is fine. It's just a lot of potatoes. But actually, Ian's pies are really good. And I particularly like English food, so there's nothing wrong with it there. It's just some of the other more like Indian and Italian foods. They're just a little more. They have a little more color. I think that's what makes them seem like there's a little more flavor town in it. At least that's my opinion, anyway. Neil says more. Neil Morrison says I can talk today. Says in your far off station role must be curry. That, yeah, he has a point there. As this channel does particularly um, go at the British Empire in far off corners of the globe, or whatever my channel description says. So, yeah, must be curry. And I do like curry. I like different kinds of curry. I particularly like thicker curries, though. And someone had asked earlier, and I think I missed the comment, what this flag is behind me. That is the flag of the Straits Settlements, also known as British Malaya. And this is the interwar one, because there is a different one. But yeah, that's the flag of British Malaya, of the actual British colonies. There are then the federated and unfederated states of Malaya, which have totally different flags and totally different governments. So, but that is the one of the colonies of what? Singapore, Penang, Ding Ding, and Malacca. Bernat says another interesting but forgotten front is the Galician front in World War I. Yes, that is also true. Everyone talks about what? The Western Front, sometimes Gallipoli, and then it trails off from there. Christopher says, when I went to talk to you, I just bother Ian. That sounds about right. That sounds about right. The only right answer is the Mount Washington Cog. Yes. The only thing that's disappointing about the Cog Railway is, for a bunch of different reasons, is they got rid of the steam locomotives. I mean, they have one. It's like, but now it's more expensive. I don't know if it was environmental or whatever, but it's just a little less fun because having a steam locomotive is just a special experience, especially if you're taking north to build a railway in Burma. Then it's super extra special. Timor says, oh no, sorry, Timnor. That's a little something about like Malaya. I just my brain naturally made it Timor. Says Burma Shave put up a lot of road signs, hence a lot of Burma roads. Burma Shave? Is that a thing? I don't know if that's just a misspelling or something. Lee Wright says, if you could time travel to be one moment in history, when would it be? Now that's something I've grappled with for a while, and I don't necessarily know because the past isn't always a great, glorious place that everyone thinks it is. The current time we live in is very comfortable and has a lot more equality and a lot more rights and a lot more less shitty things than the past has. So mm, I don't know. I think there are definitely moments in history I'd like to go back and see, just because it'd be nice to know it better. But I think then we have to think about if we're not taking some of the societal things of the time, is there a time that I'd like to go back to? And that's the thing, a thing I have to think about there for a moment. Duke of the Normans again says, Howe really should have waited until he had completely closed the circle before firing the cannons which signaled the assault would begin on. He seems to have been uninterested in total victory. Well, I think he seems like he's uninterested in total victory. You're also using an army without a proper signal corps. Um, and also Howe, again, didn't want to attack uh, very aggressively there because after everything that had happened at Bunker Hill. And that would have been a total victory if Washington hadn't skirted across the East River into Manhattan during the Battle of Long Island. And he shouldn't have had the Royal Navy done their job. So, because that siege would have worked if the Royal Navy had done their job. Like, it would have worked. And the American Revolution, or American War of Independence, as it's commonly called, it would have been it. It would have been over. August 1776, the rebellion would have been over. That's it. And also, still, we got to remember too, in '76, particularly at the beginning of the Battle of Long Island, before it happened, how the Howe brothers tried to negotiate with Washington and the rebel leaders to say, "Hey, can we have a peaceful solution to this?" And because one of the things is that Washington wasn't addressed as a general in the letter that the Howe brothers gave to Washington, and it was rejected. So, uh, there's a lot going on there, but we don't have time for the whole Long Island campaign right now. Also says, what are your thoughts on civilian reenacting? I've been teaching myself to tailor for the next summer to join a 40 civilian group, and I'm curious about what you think of them. I think civilian is really good and really important, and I don't think it's necessarily always done enough. So I think it's great. I actually like a lot of that early 20th century civilian reenacting. I would do it if I knew how to make that stuff and knew how to get that stuff. It's particularly cool in places like Britain and Europe because you have a lot of places to do it at. And in Britain, you have all these cool railway places to do it at, which I think is really awesome. Really jealous of some of those heritage railways you have in Britain. Gordon says, thoughts on the Bob sample as the greater MBT of all time? I don't think I have an opinion on that because I really don't know enough about it. I live under a rock, guys. Have you seen me? Have you watched my videos? Have you watched my videos? Zindu says, where can I buy good quality pith helmet repro? The best one is to get in touch with Nat Sui. I don't know how to correctly pronounce his name, but he makes the best quality pith helmets. You can find him on Facebook. He also sells them through a reenacting company. I don't know I can't remember what it's called. It's like Quartermaster something. But he sells them through there. And those are probably the best ones, but they're not cheap. They're going to be as much as about a 1940s original. And that's what I would say is the best one because, wait, I got one here. This happens to be like a quote Zulu era one, but it's literally just a It's just the colonial pattern foreign service helmet. It's not great. It's the shape is wrong. It's got this huge point, which doesn't come about until the late Victorian era. It's big. It's boisterous. I mean, look at that. It's just like whoop. It's this is an SOF one. It's not great. The cork is too thick. The best one is really a Nats ones. Um, there's nothing better. There really isn't. It's the only thing I can recommend is a good repro. If you want a cheap repro, you just have to get the cheap repro. That's just the way it works. This one is actually also a reproduction, but that one is probably from somewhere in the 20th century. They were making these things up until the factory burnt down in the 1970s. So shame that happened because these are a lot better. This one has a bigger point, so it's only really okay for late Victorian, about the turn of the century. But this is way better than most of the reproductions from Vietnam, which is a shame because all they would have to do is just change some of the shape things, even if the cork thickness wasn't changed. The geometries just could be improved. Dreadnought says top 10 pranks that you pulled on Brandon. I have actually never pulled a prank on Brandon, though maybe. But Brandon doesn't live close to me anymore. He used to live a lot closer, but he doesn't now. So I don't know if I can prank Brandon. But if you guys have a good thing to prank Brandon with, hit me up. Maybe we can make a video out of it. Chris says, "What? No steam locomotive? Forget them." Yeah, I know. That's what I'm telling you, man. They don't use the steam locomotives all the time. They have these diesels now, and it's kind of sucks. It's not the same. Winston says, "I was sergeant major of the British Brigade and had 900 men in place for the first formation at the British Brigade Quebec in 1994. Easy, no, but doable. Man, that when you have 900 men, that's just so cool. I don't get those numbers these days." Winston says his favorite railroad is the Boston and Maine, and of course, that's our local railway here. It's the Boston, or was our local railway here. Winston says, "Plus, I see no other folks' comments." Um, Winston, if you close out the live stream and then open it again, the comments thing should come up, or you can swipe up if you're on a phone. I don't know. I never really watch that many live streams. I'm on my own live stream on my phone. Comment says we had an old B&M station in Malden. It's a pretty good restaurant now. Yeah, it's pretty cool. A lot of those B&M things are have been turned into other things like B&M. That's my of course my favorite railway because that's our local railway or was our local railway was the Boston and Maine. Winston says they did it because environmental for the cog railway on Mount Washington here in New Hampshire. Yep, and that's probably right, but it still doesn't make it any less disappointing because is a railway a proper railway if it isn't a steam locomotive? But considering how much corporations pollute the environment, if we're worried about a scenic railway that goes up a mountain, I don't know. I feel like there are other things to worry about than steam locomotives, especially when you're doing it for history and all that stuff. Duke the Norman says, "Do you have a favorite English monarch, not British and not joint monarchy post 1603?" Not really, because I really don't do anything that's prior to 1700 or really get into it because it's just I mean I'm interested in watching videos on say like the Middle Ages, but it's there's nothing I don't it's not like I don't reenact it or anything. So and there's only so much time in a day that you have to reenact and money and so there's only so much you can do. Christopher says, "I haven't watched your videos, but I did chase you through Fort 4 once." You did chase me through Fort 4 once, Chris. That is correct. That was a shameful moment. I was chased by a Frenchman through a fort. Unacceptable. So much dishonor. Carl says, "Hello from Scotland. You deserve so many more subscribers for your fantastic work." Well, thank you, Carl. I appreciate the kind words. I really do. Yes. I mean, I don't know if I deserve more subscribers or I don't deserve more subscribers. I don't know. I don't know what any of us deserve anymore, but It would be great to have more subscribers, mostly just because it helps the videos get pushed up a little bit more, and then it definitely probably helps me be like, "Oh, people want to see this." And sometimes when people don't watch it, I'm like, "Oh, maybe no, people don't want to see it." So it's definitely encouraging to me when people subscribe. So thank you, Carl, again for the kind words. Anyway, yeah, recommend me to your friends, guys. Smash that like button, subscribe, send me in a Facebook message. Check this guy out. Do it for me, please. Thank you. Dreadnought says, "How many pith helmets do you own?" Okay, so let's just go through them right now. We got them here. So first we have this. What is this one? Zoom in now. This is a 1942 Fellsworth Helmets Company Limited. This is a Felt Wolseley. This is the original one from the Second World War. This has a North Staffordshire Regiment flash on it for World War One, and my own puggery. It's could be a little better. Again, if you want to know more about why it could be better, go check out that video. But this is this one. This was my first Wolseley helmet actually, and this is the felted Wolseley. Kind of cool. Then we have this one. This is some reproduction from the 20th century somewhere. This is a colonial pattern helmet. That's what it looks like inside. And this is basically what you see in the Victorian era, though most in the Victorian era don't have this point. Besides that, this is pretty much what you'll see throughout the late 19th century. This is one I have. Reproduction somewhere from the 20th century. I don't know. I bought this one from a quartermaster of the 10th Foot. It was just sitting in his basement, so I bought it for like $20. Great one for $20 actually. Now, if you ever find a helmet like this, it's a good helmet. Don't butcher it. It's a really nice helmet. Just don't do it. And then we have the KSPH, the Khaki Sola Pith Hat, basically just a Sola Tapi. And this one actually is the only helmet that I have that is actually, technically speaking, a pith helmet, because it actually is made of pith, and these were generally made in India. And this one probably was also made in India, but regrettably, I don't know where it was made because the label is missing, because it's a little sad inside. But these were made all throughout the Raj for soldiers and such. Very iconic hat, which you see starting in the early 20th century. Then we have this, another Fellsworth, 1942. And this one is actually a cork one. This is not a felt one like the ones you saw before. And so this is actually one I got when I lost. The other one was confiscated and they refunded me. This one popped up, and it's actually good because this one is actually a nicer helmet than the one that was confiscated. And this is another Wolseley, Second World War I too. I'd like to have a 1930s, 1920s, or any earlier prior to World War I Wolseley, but they're hard to find, and then they're sometimes expensive. Mostly, but I can't find them. So, but I'd love to have one, but that'd be great. But I don't. Then this one here is my buddy Josh's. I store it for him. No, Wait, no. That one was Josh's. I messed up, guys. Sorry. This one was Josh's. My buddy's. I store for him because he doesn't really have space to store it safely. Yeah, that's a good helmet. It's another felt one. But this is my first helmet, my first Wolseley. And this is the felt one. You'll see this on the Loyals kit video. That actually needs an update. But this is a 1942. Which one is this one? This is the Moors of London one. Yes. Again, my own puggery, because these ones have economy puggeries. So yeah, that's mine. And then I have this really bad SOF pith helmet that you just saw, the colonial pattern helmet. Not great, but if it's the best you got, it's fine too. Don't recommend getting it though if you have the money to buy a proper helmet. But those are basically my helmets, or some of my helmets anyway. Or no, they are my helmets. What am I saying? This one is Josh's. Gordon says, if Brandon comes to Bunker Hill, you can prank him. I don't know if Brandon's gonna go to Bunker Hill. No, my friend was talking to you about Brendan of Bunker Hill. Brendan didn't even know Bunker Hill was happening, but now he does. So maybe he will go. We'll see what happens. I think I'd enjoy that. Daniel says, "Good day, good day, Daniel." Winston Stone says he fixed his chat. That's good, excellent. Dreadnought says there is nothing like the smell of coal and underpaid workers. Straight out of the Victorian period, everybody. Properly Victorian. Daniel Ryan says, "Is anyone having audio glitches?" Oh, he says it was fixed. Pax Europa says, "New Hampshire gang." Yes, New Hampshire gang. It's definitely not like Old Hampshire. I mean, sometimes it's like Old Hampshire, but not really. Pax Europa says he lives in Amherst. Oh, I know where that is. I know where Amherst is. I know some people live in Amherst. Actually, we have an event. We used to go to Amherst with the 10th for they had like not like a Yankee homecoming or something like that. 10th used to go there though. Maybe we'll go there again. I don't know. Daniel Ryan says, "Hey, Fire Station, just picked up a Czechoslovakian M5880 helmet. That's cool. Except I know nothing about Czechoslovakian stuff, so it kind of means nothing to me because it's just out of my area of expertise." Christopher says, "I grew up in Londonderry, but now I live in Mass." What a downgrade. So maybe it's not. Londonderry is technically an Irish town, isn't it? Carl Wilhelm Meinhardt says, Meinert says, "What was Washington addressed as?" I think if we're talking about that thing on Long Island, I think it was addressed as George Washington Esquire, and then when they sent it again, it was George Washington Esquire, etc., etc., which is pretty normal in the period, etc., 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 and still they didn't like that. So yeah, a lot going on there. Winston says coal burns nasty. Coal does burn nasty, especially if you have a soft coal like bituminous. Carl Trotter says, Dreadnought, I'm getting. Oh, Dreadnought says I'm getting Andrew Carnegie vibes from you. Library, or excuse me, a concert hall and some libraries. So he's got that going for him. He let some people die in the steel factories. Winston Stone's favorite is Frederick the Great. Great, pretty cool guy, I guess. Dreadnought says, oh, he's talking to Carl. Carl Trotter says, "Wait, how can a helmet be confiscated? Were they trying to restart the British Empire?" No, it's not even Britain who was confiscating it. It was literally eBay. It's literally eBay. So unfortunately, it's an eBay thing. Winston says, "What, you were what? By a frog? I am appalled, Sergeant." Yes, that's right. Though I got away in the end, so I get the last laugh. Ha ha, frog. Ha ha. Frog face. Oh, what's the quote? What's the quote? Ian, are you still on here? What's the quote from Hornblower? Something about frog face. You got to tell me. You got to tell me. There's a good quote that applies here. Carl Wilhelm Meinert says, oh, he's adding Winston. He says, "It smells good." There is definitely something special, though, about that. Though my grandfather grew up in Chicago next to the New York Central line in Chinatown, and he talks about how his mom every day would clean the soot off of the window of the tenement building because the steam locomotives just put off all that soot and great nasty. So steam engines are cool, but they are nasty in that regard. Gordon says, "I'm that friend, gosh darn it." Dennis says, "I'm trying to move up to New Hampshire, possibly from New York, probably near Keene." That's cool. I don't know what to say. It's kind of cool in New Hampshire. I mean, it's New England. It's all kind of similar. Winston says, "At Carl." Oh, this is Carl Wilhelm. Oh, I would have agreed. Oh, that's just adding people. That doesn't matter. Neil Morrison says Andrew Carnegie. I think it's technically Carnegie, I think is the correct pronunciation. Says Andrew Carnegie used to have a castle along from my family home. My great grandfather bought a chair from it. That's actually pretty cool, actually. That's in his chimed in here. It says, "No, it's King George, frog face." Yes, that's the quote. That's You gotta use that quote more often. It's classic. It's classic. Pax Europa says, "Are you a member of the New Hampshire Monarchist Federation of Alliance?" No, I'm not. I didn't even know it was a thing. I, 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 I didn't. I didn't. Maybe that's bad. I don't know. Comment says eBay wants to recreate the Honorable East India Company. Can we, while we're here, can we just talk about how the first American flag is literally just them using the flag of the East India Company? Like, it ain't great, guys. America's just like, let's steal someone else's flag of the company whose tea we dumped into a couple of years ago in 1773. Carl Trotter says, is that Sikh book? Oh, he's talking to Neo. Chris says, oh, he's at Winston. Dreadnought says, are you into steampunk? I think it has a cool aesthetic sometimes. I'm definitely not like I go and wear it or whatever, but I can appreciate steampunk. Karl Wilhelm Mein Meinart says, I don't know. Winston, oh, he's adding Winston. Dreadnought says, if you are, please explain because I have no clue what steampunk is. Steampunk is basically that late 19th century, early 20th century thing where you mash it together and it's basically, I don't know how to best describe steampunk. Basically create modern technology out of steam and stuff and combine all this Victorian stuff to create kind of a fantasy universe. It's kind of what it is. God, I'm bad at explaining steampunk. Pax Europa, are you at least a monarchist? It's kind of irrelevant because we live in a country without a monarch. I mean, so it doesn't really matter. I know Brandon will go on about Britain and whatever, but like I live in America, so it's kind of doesn't really apply to my life, no matter what I might be inclined. And he's also for New Hampshire independence. New Hampshire independence, if New Hampshire's independent as its own self, that's a terrible idea. Um, but New Hampshire could not survive as its own independent entity. If it was part of Canada, yeah, it'd be fine. But that's also probably if it's done by like the legislature, like that one guy that our representative wanted to do, terrible, terrible idea. That's a great way to make economic destruction throughout the state. Iron Law is here. What's this? A live stream? It is a live stream. I think it literally says that somewhere. Yes, it is a live stream, and here we are with 17 people and 43 likes. It's a live stream, and we're talking about anything today. Maybe one time we'll have to talk about specific things, but you guys generally seem like you have enough questions that it keeps me busy for a long time. Neil Morrison, the U.S. national anthem tune is a drinking song. Yes, which is basically every song from the 18th and 19th century. It literally is just a song that's used by common folk, and then someone puts lyrics to it, and it becomes more important later. That's literally how it works. Gordon says, steampunk. I thought you all meant steampunk, like music. That'd actually be kind of an interesting music genre. I don't know how that would work. Is it just like Victorian punk? Common says, steampunk is kind of like the future as imagined by people in the late 19th century. Yep. My buddy Common there summed up pretty well. That's literally what it is. Gordon Steinberg says, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. I have my first inbred son. I wasn't even doing immediate familiar inbreeding. Two vibes. Oh, God. Pax Europa says, New England independence then. I mean, technically speaking, this is a conversation I've had again with Ian Graves of Royal Blue Traders. Again, check him out. There is a book out that says potentially that New England could have been independent had the War of 1812 kind of continued on, because there was talk about New England actually seceding and becoming part of Canada. So if the War of 1812 had joined on for 6 months, maybe New England could have become part of Canada, and the War of 1812 could have continued. So we don't actually know. Again, though, that's getting into alternate history, and I don't always necessarily like those kinds of things. because a lot of things have to go one way or the other, and it is just that, it's alternate history. There is no fact to it at all, but they're fun thought experiments nonetheless. Carl Trotter says, Kenzuk Empire 2.2 or not? Let's try it. What's the worst thing we have to do? Arnold says, what is your favorite regimental quick march? What is my favorite regimental quick march? I don't know. I like marches a lot, so it's hard to pick one. I mean, Money Musk is a very catchy march. It's a quick march of the Royal Rifles of Canada. That's a pretty good one. I like that one, but I don't know if it's necessarily my favorite. CJ, the history person, says New England independence. Yes. Be kind of fun. Be interesting. Bring back the Dominion of New England. Pax Europa says without Massachusetts. Well, regrettably, I don't know if that's possible. I think you have to take it as it's a package deal. I don't know if that's good or not, but I think that's just the way it works. And plus, if you don't take Massachusetts with you, that's going to cause a real transportation problem unless you tunnel underneath Massachusetts. But then it's going to turn into like a tunneling thing, like during the First World War. Carl Wilhelm Mienert says, "Oh, Pax Europa, it's a flag needs to be the East India Company flag ripoff." The thing about it is, when the Americans chose the East India Company flag, it's not even a ripoff. They literally just chose the same flag. It's not like they really even changed it. It's not they're like, we'll put a blue stripe here, guys, and suddenly it's different. Change it up a little bit. No, they just basically chose the East India Company flag. Gordon says, would you consider the War of 1812 a part of the Napoleonic Wars? Not really. It's really its own separate thing. It exists in its own separate universe, and it's really treated as its own separate war. Like the children, the soldiers that they send they're all. I mean, obviously the same kit or similar kits, but I don't necessarily think it's Napoleonic Wars. Matt McDonald, Canada. Though apparently, it looks like you guys are having a rough day in Canada today. So, Angelina says, per wiki, steampunk is a subgenre of science fiction that incorporates retrofuturistic technology and aesthetic inspired by 19th century industrial steam-powered machinery. Angelina also says, think Jules Verne or Captain Nemo aesthetically. Lots of brown, goth, but a brown. So there you go, everybody. There's some wiki stuff on steampunk. Dreadnought says, how many middle-aged dads have you gotten in an argument with about World War II or the Revolutionary War? I don't think I've actually gotten into any arguments with them. I'm sure it's going to happen in the future. There just hasn't been a lot of stuff going on pandemic, so I'm sure it will happen. But I haven't had anything that I at least was memorable. Probably it's happened in the comment section, and I don't know they're middle-aged dads. You never know in the comment section who people are, so it's hard to know. But there's definitely some hot takes from middle-aged dads out there, and that's not a knock against middle-aged dads. It's just sometimes they do have some hot takes on history. But again, even there's a lot of reenactors with hot takes on history. So if the documentation doesn't say it, maybe don't repeat it. Carl Trotter says the American edition brings a tear to my eye. Angelina says also there are steampunk brands. Actually, there are steampunk belly dancers. I know some personally. I guess there's something for everything, isn't there? Chris the Redcoat says, Chris the Redcoat joined the chat. Boy. Oh, hi, John. Oh, hi, Chris. I didn't see you come in. Sure you all guys know Chris the Redcoat here, because if you watch me, you probably watch Chris the Redcoat. But if you don't, go check out Chris's channel and smash that subscribe button for Chris the Redcoat. Probably some of the best Rev War content you'll find on the internet. Fight me. Pax Europe says Carl Trotter, so true. Josh Basiga. Hi, John. Hey, Josh. How are you? The Josh who's tuning in here in the chat is my good mate, Josh, and we just showcased his helmet earlier. Right here. Let's just show it again in case we have some new people who are tuning in. Here's Josh's helmet that I store for him. So that's Josh's helmet. Pretty cool. Good felted Wosley. Quinn Schuler says, speaking of the East India Company flag, and again, guys, we should be using the correct term here, though, when we refer to the East India Company. It should be called the Honorable East India Company. I expect to see that now, henceforth, in the chat. It was based off a flag used by the Mahapatists during the 16th century, so technically we're using an Indonesian flag law. There you go. Pax Sherpa says, New Hampshire stands with the truckers. Do we stand with the truckers? I didn't think that was even relevant to this country. Comment says, now it's a party. It's always a party. Chris the Redcoat says, it's called stripper clips. Guys, if you don't know about that, when that video about the loading the Linfield Chargers versus magazines, some guy went off on me about how he didn't like that I was calling them stripper clips. I mean, excuse me, calling them Chargers, and that he likes stripper clip better. And that was literally why he got upset with me. This is the biggest reason he got upset with me. Oh man, YouTube's a degenerative hole sometimes. Carl Trotter asks, out of interest, how did this interest in old world imperialism start for you? Far Off Station. That is something I've been meaning to make a video on. We'll do a quick thing here. Okay. Oh, bloody hell, I don't have it here. Yeah. Bugger. Anyway, I used to sit in the library at our local library, and they had the Tintin books. And my favorite one was the Blue Lotus, which takes place in the International Concession in Shanghai. So that kind of spurred my interest in this period that generally has been featured on the channel. For, say, American War of Independence, though, you live in New England, you're surrounded by it. So it's kind of like the thing. So that kind of gave me an interest. And the regiment that I'm in, the 10th Regiment of Foot, I've known for a long time because I went and saw the 10th as a kid and went to AWI reenactments. If you see this flag here, British Malaya, I had an internship in Singapore in 2016. So that, again, increased my interest in the British Empire as a whole. I had flown into Kuala Lumpur, and my first question to my friend was, well, why are the curbs painted like that? And why we're obviously driving on the left side of the road too. We got talking about how the colonial Britain in the Far East, so that all impacted it. Part of my family immigrated from Hong Kong, which, as everyone knows, was a British colony until the Thatcher administration decided that they should give it back to China and let all these people get oppressed, as you see now. So those are probably the biggest things as to why I'm interested in this tract of history. So I think that's the too long did not read explanation. If you want more, I can go over some more things, but that's it. Josh at Chris Redcoat was literally just about to bring that up. Yeah, Josh. Yeah, that's that whole thing with that commenter. But I was getting upset about the stripper clips versus the Chargers. Oh man, like people are literally like starving in the world, and you're worried about that I'm calling a Charger by its proper Commonwealth nomenclature. At Ian Graves, at Chris the Redcoat, is that a bayonet lug? Ian, buddy, mate, pal, you trying to get Chris and I to get upset again? Do you want us to get upset again? Do you want us to? That's how you do that? Cloud to cloud communication with Chris, Redcoat, and Josh. Excellent, you guys. Chris Schuller said, Chris is here. Yes, Chris has been here for a little bit now. Comment says, by the way, where's your halberd? Oh, god damn it. God damn it. Ian told me to bring it up too, and I didn't. Damn it. Well, if you guys want to see the halberd, I can bring that upstairs, but then I'd have to walk away. But if you guys want to see it, I can show you the halberd. That is Captain Stone's halberd when from a long time ago. And actually went to Britain, which we can go over if you guys want to see it. But yep, the halberd. I'm the halberd boy now. That's what happens when you're the sergeant. Chris Redcoat. Listen here. Ian, you're really being a cheeky SOB today, aren't you? Gordon says client communication is literally the doodle dispatch writers. Schiller says Ian is also here. Yes, Ian has been here since the beginning. He's literally been here forever. He's literally ancient. That's why he's literally a boomer. Pax Europa redacted his message. Not retracted, he redacted it. Unacceptable. Wow, and Ian continues to just be cheeky. Look at that. Chris Redcoat, I just killed him. Excellent. That's guys. If you need 18th century clothing, maybe check somebody else out because Chris the Redcoat has ended Royal Boot Traders. Good thing. Good thing Dylan has CJ's shirt now. Carl Wilhelm says HEIC, Honorable East India Company. Good job, Carl. You got it. There we go. Proper term. But it says Josh is in the house. Yes, Josh is in fact in the house. What kind of house is this? Maybe we don't want to explore that, actually. Comment says, man, that Lee Enfield reloading video really brought out some interesting comments. Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. God, it did. I'm like that Viet Cong flashback gif right now. Anything anymore. Neil says he's heading out. Well, thanks for joining us, Neil. It was glad to have you along. You always have some great stories to share with us all. See you again soon, Neil. Comment, am I interested in being special? Just gonna scroll through here. Gordon says, do a video on the halberd instead. Yeah, I should make a video on the halberd, actually. I need to make a whole video on the sergeant's kit, but I need to finish my woolen breeches. I need to do, I mean, I've been concerned about making any Rev War content, though, because I was afraid that, people wouldn't watch it. But I don't know. That last video on the coat comparison actually did really well. It was one of the most popular videos, and it was the most popular video I've made in recent history. So maybe you guys do want to see Rev War. Tell me. Tell me in the comment section below. Ian says, you can't swear, you won't get money. Actually, yeah, depends. Though no one's going to watch this live stream. We're an hour and 33 minutes in. So Chris Redcoat says, that's I'm quitting the hobby. Chris, maybe we should just do the model railroading. It just seems so much easier sometimes. Christopher says, I'm older than Ian. I don't know how I should feel. That sounds like a personal problem, if you ask me. Gordon says, oh, wait, never mind. I didn't look closely related. How closely related I am to my wife. We both have the same grandfather. Okay. The 99-year lease was up. This is the reason I was led to believe. So if we're talking about Hong Kong here, the 99-year lease was up for new territories, which is the part that connects to mainland China. Technically speaking, the island of Hong Kong and the outlying islands and Kowloon were actually not part of the 99-year lease of Hong Kong. But the big thing is then you were going to have to split Hong Kong, and that was going to be messy. Though now it's turning messy anyway. So would it have mattered? I don't know. That's a topic for an entirely different session. But technically, 99-year lease is only for new territories. Kowloon, Hong Kong Island, and the outlying islands were gifted to Britain in perpetuity. Though according to China, it's an unfair treaty. Yes, probably, etc. But again, that's a whole entirely different thing. CJ, the history person, says, make Rev War content. Okay, CJ says it, so we're going to do it. I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, it is my primary impression, so. Chris the Redcoat, too much Rev War. What? You excuse me, Ottoman reenactor? Gonna get added by Ottoman reenactor saying, "You do too much for me." Anyone who doesn't know Ottoman reenact, oh my god, he's here, everybody. I just looked down. Ottoman reenactor is in the chat, lads. Oh man, he's commenting. Oh my god, he's get. Sorry guys, I'm gonna have to scroll through the Ottoman reenactor comments now. Chris talked about him, and then I see he's in the comments section. Oh damn! I'm about to be oppressed, guys. If this chat ends, I've been captured by the Turks at Kut. Send help. Ottoman reenactor. Oh hello. Your live stream is mine. Surrender. That's it, guys. It's over. This live stream's over. Ottoman reenactor has entered the chats, and this is Kut. Goodbye, everybody. Ottoman reenactor is telling Chris to surrender. Yes, Chris must surrender, because otherwise Ottoman reenactor is going to show up at the door with his Ottoman hand like. If you guys don't already watch Ottoman reenactor, go check him out. He's one of Chris and I's good friends, good mate. He does a lot of 20th century stuff. So go check him out if you haven't already checked out Ottoman reenactor. Kut who? Don't act like you don't know. You know Ottoman reenactor. Duke of the Normans says, between St. Michael's and Easton, assuming you looked at what I sent you on Facebook, which looks better. Either way, if your 10th comes, it'll be a very long drive. Yeah, the 10th might go if there's an event, but again, that's not up to me. That's up to whether it's properly organized and everything, and it gets submitted to the 10th. That's not my area of responsibility. Quick death march intensifies. Suddenly, Turkish music plays in the background. Oh man, ASMR, you've been captured by Ottoman reenactor CT at Kut. Oh god, that'd be terrifying. I can hear it now. 8-bit Turkish music. 8-bit Turkish music. Here we go. Ottoman reenactor, March. Oh god. I've heard you say that before, and it's terrifying. I think we might have to do an video with Ottoman reenactor and also Chris Redcoat where we hear Ottoman reenactor March us. It's probably the most terrifying thing you'll ever hear. Trinit says a lightning bolt just struck a person when the Ottoman reenactor joined the chat. Yep, that's right. DF, everybody. If you don't know about DF, go check out Aussie Man Reviews. That's what just happened here. Oh, apparently you guys are talking about the cap badge for the Staffordshire Regiment. Yes, though technically we don't need them because as far as research shows, and on most Wosleys in general, cap badges were not used. It's not very common. You do see it on some Mosleys, but cap badges were not common on helmets in general, in particular on campaign, particularly in the Victorian era. And on Wosleys, you see it very seldom. Very seldom do you see cap badges on Wosleys. Pax Europa says, me and the boys might just need to take Constantinople. Let's go. I mean, I just do it. Let's go. It has to happen. It is written. Lawrence Pasha. It is written. Comment says, oh God, no, not the ASMR. You know, I have no problem with ASMR. I just have a problem with that guy's ASMR. It's terrible. It's wretched. It's super rapey, super not consensual. It's bad, and I don't approve of it. If you guys haven't seen this video, go check out Brandon's channel. Chris, Brandon, myself, and I reacted to a redcoat. I don't even know. I don't even want to talk about it now. Just go check it out. You'll know what it is because you'll see us like this on the thumbnail. Yeah, I think that's how I'm on the thumbnail. So go check it out. It's a funny video. It just caused Chris, Brandon, and I lots of pain. Chris says I had successfully blocked the ASMR out of my mind. Yeah, I had too. I totally had forgotten about that for a few months now, and now it's been brought up again. Big oof. One certain Esquire says, "Are you from Singapore?" No, but I did work a summer internship in Singapore for a family's company, a startup company that she had. So I've been to Singapore and I've worked in Singapore, but I'm not from Singapore. That's the simple answer. My family is the family who immigrated here is actually from Hong Kong. So CJ, the history person. No, not the ASMR. Yeah, yeah. No party, Colonel I party. Yes, Colonel I party. Nah. Oh God. Oh God. Why did I bring it up? Why did I bring it up? Oh God. Please, God, no. Please, no. Chris says, so when are we reacting to Dragon Man? Chris is right. Yeah, we actually need to set that up. I think. For guys you don't know, it's a video online where this guy who has a big old collection of stuff. Um, he literally just talks about his stuff and how it makes fun of Joe Biden. It's an interesting existence. I guess it's fun, but anyway, he made this video and it's about kit and excuse me, arms on the AWI, and they're like all these percussion cap guns, and it's so bad. And the clothing's bad. I think it really does need to be a Red Coats react. We need to God that's video. Oh. Autumn reactor, are you sarcastic? Oh boy. Yes, Effendi. Yes. Yes. Golden Steinberg says, you touch his bare chest, Doodle spontaneously combusts. I wish it was like that, actually. Angelina says, some of that dude's ASMR stuff is just slightly appropriative. Yeah, Get Guy isn't great. It's just not. He's not. We wouldn't even to worry about his name because he doesn't. We don't need to worry about him. How to marry an actor CT. Your skin is too white and pure. Oh boy, we're about to pull a Lawrence of Arabia scene right out of this, right on this live stream. Actually, that might be a good gag thing right there. If whenever I see I'm an actor, might have to do some of this stuff. Too white, pure. Oof. Zindu says, "Is it possible to make a pith helmet?" It is possible to make a pith helmet. It's just it takes a lot of skill to make one, and you need to know how. It's possible. I mean, people make them. It's just as a regular person, a little complicated. Christopher Kurt, Dis der Flint der Rocks. Yeah. God, the Dragon Man video. It's so. Oh no. It's bad. It's. I mean, I guess he wants to educate people about history and stuff, but it's really bad, and it's it really goes back on. I'm sure he believes a lot of the mythos stuff of America being born and founded too. Ottoman reenactor says, "I be back." Girlfriend called. He's with the boys though. Come on, unacceptable. What is this? Chris says, "Sounds like an excuse for a podcast." Yeah, I mean, some of my friends have talked about making a podcast. We just have never done it. So I don't know. Podcast name. Yeah, podcasts. Pax Europa, the Turk has been defeated. I mean, that actually is the easiest way to defeat To meet Ottoman reenactor is have his girlfriend call. It's probably the easiest way to defeat anybody, actually. Where can I find some tutorials? There are no tutorials on making pith helmets. I the only tutorials I have on here are how to make a puggery, so you're out of luck here. Sorry. CJ, the history person, says I'm going to eat lunch. Well, you can eat lunch and watch. CJ, is your mom making you not watch this? Is she like you have to mindfully eat? Oh, unacceptable. Unacceptable. Compliment Lawrence of Arabia ASMR. Actually, if it wasn't so trashy, that would, you know, if it wasn't, I wasn't so traumatized by it. That'd actually be funny if Ottoman reenactor made a Lawrence of Arabia. You've been captured by whatever. I can't remember what the guy's name there is, but he's the Ottoman officer. That'd be an interesting one, just as a meme. But I have no problem with ASMR if it's done tastefully and appropriately. But that one guy we watched, definitely not appropriate. And as Angelina said, very appropriative. Quinn says, I just looked at the Dragon Man video, and within the first 2 minutes, he picked up a percussion cap pistol and said, "This is a flintlock." Yeah, it's really bad. Um, I mean, if you can't know you don't know the difference between a flintlock and a percussion cap pistol, it's going nowhere real quick. It's going right into a brick wall. Gordon says, "No prisoners." Lord shouted soft. That was humorous. Dreadnought says, "Need to resist, silly boy. The Ottoman reactor will capture you no matter what." It's true. It's how it works in Mesopotamia. He's capturing you anyway. Doesn't really matter. Chris says, America exists because of the French. That actually is true. That's not actually a hot take. Though now I'm going to get added by all the Yankee Doodle dandies. But that is true. America basically owes its independence to the French. They provided America with arms, ammunition, clothing, and eventually men. And most of the army at Yorktown was French. Chris Redcoat says, if you're going to teach history, at least do your diligence. Yeah, I mean, that's really how it is. What really irritates me about particularly making YouTube content is that I'm here sitting reading all this stuff before I make a video, and even then I'll edit stuff out because I don't feel like it clearly states stuff well enough, and then people like him will just go and pull stuff out of their ass, and it's to me it's unacceptable. I mean, it's great to be a history buff, it's great to be this, but if you're not gonna say it accurately, I mean, like, you do have a duty and responsibility. You really do, because then people are gonna take that and they're gonna believe it. So you need to do your due diligence. Angelina says she's eating and watching this. It's not hard. Yeah, I'm telling you guys. I mean, I watch stuff all the time. I have to watch something when I eat now. It's you can do it. We can help. The Home Depot. Joshua Siga. I'm driving and watching this. It's not hard or safe. See, this is what I'm telling you, people. People, there are no excuses to why you can't do things. Winston Stone can camp in a tent after 46 years. You can too. If Josh Pasiga can drive and watch this, you can too. No excuses. Be there or don't. Live your best Saturday. Damn, maybe that should be my new sign off. Be there or don't. Live your best Saturday. Quinn says, "Yeah, Saratoga really sealed the deal for the Americans as it could prove that we could actually do stuff on our own." Yeah, I mean that's kind of like that's the too long did not read version of what Saratoga is. Yep, I mean that's when French joined the war. Chris Redcoat says, "No, America won because we had the rifles and the British were stupid." I mean, it's funny. I mean, it's not actually funny, to be really honest with you, because there are a lot of people who actually think that. and they repeat it all the time. If you go to a reenactment, still you get people who are saying that it's probably better than it was, but it's definitely repeated more than it should. But no, that's not really how America was. Particularly at Battle Road, 1775, which is basically the 10th represents 1775. In that period, New Englanders didn't have rifles; they had Fowlers, which were basically just smaller sub caliber muskets. They didn't have rifles. It's just not true. I'm sorry, but most of what America is a mythos. It's not real. It's just not. Sorry, everybody. Sorry to do that. At me in the comment section. Man says Dragonman has a video called "Showing Off the Holocaust Room," and that tells me I need to know everything I need to know about the channel. I don't know. I didn't know that, comma man. Guess it's not. That's pretty wretched and dodgy. I don't know if I like that. Nah, I don't like that. I've just no. That's yeah, yeah. That does tell you everything you need to know about that. Christopher says a lie can travel halfway around the world while the truth is still putting its shoes on. Yeah, and that's kind of how history, in a way, actually has worked. Particularly, what happens in America is that people um, would send things on a faster ship to get to Britain first, so that you could get the story sooner. So, actually, whoever has the fastest ship is what the truth is. Chris says what the French really did is put tabs. Table stakes were more than what they wanted to afford. And yeah, what's funny about it all is the American War of Independence turned into a global conflict, high key World War. And the largest battle siege of the American Revolution takes place in Gibraltar. It's just how it is. Like um it very much turned into another world war like the 7 Years War was. It just didn't have fighting on the continent. That's all. Pax Europe says, no, we won because we had freedom. That's right. America won because of freedom. Nothing else. But that's, I mean, and that's what that's what everyone says when they talk about the American War of Independence, which really irritates me personally, is that it's just about Americans wanted freedom and this and that, and it's all myth. It's all mythological stuff. It's not real. Jordan says, hot take: George Washington was not a good general. Defeat at Fort Necessity, 1754. 2. Braddock's defeat. 3. Battle of New York. 4. Brandywine. 5. Germantown. Yes, I mean that's like a too long did not read version. It's kind of the case, but it does speak to a larger thing. Is that at most of the major engagements, aside from like Saratoga, the British the British won the engagements. Uh, they were the better army. Now that doesn't matter what the causes, etc. But in terms of just the army, yes, Gage, Howe, Clinton, they all technically did better than the Americans did. That are probably are called rebels. Matt Valley, Matt Valley says, "Did I miss the Redcoat ASMR portion of this stream?" I don't know when you joined in, Matt, but we did just talk about the the Redcoat ASMR part of this stream, and I think Chris and I are still I think we still have PTSD from that. You're a rebel. Who are you? Who sent you? And then I'm gonna load the Tic Tac gun. Dreadnought says, even Ben Franklin said that the British Empire is the most democratic government in the world. I mean, probably in the period, yeah, you can probably make a good argument for that. And probably throughout history, yeah. It probably is. Yeah. I mean, you can make a good good argument for it. I mean, all things considered, you did have more rights than almost any other state. So, Ottoman reenactor is telling me, you want a quick call for a meme? Blink at the screen for yes. I don't know. What do you mean by that? Also, one second. I gotta go get my cord from my phone. Otherwise, I'm gonna run out of stream chat here. All right, we didn't lose anybody. Right. I've plugged in my phone here. Ottoman reenactor's calling me a traitor. Yep, that's me, traitor. Okay, guys, I'm just gonna scroll down to the bottom of the chat for the time being. If you have a question again or you said something, just say it. It's not a big deal. Chris the Redcoat says proceeds to light pipe with magic. That video had a lot going on. None of it good. None of it good. Oh, Autumn Reenact says, are you Circassian? Nope. Gonna get tortured now, guys. Live on television. Comment says he forgot about the TikTok. I don't know if they were TikToks or mints or what they were, but they just reminded me of TikToks immediately. I think they might have actually just been airsoft bullets or something, or I don't know. But like real bullets, lead shot is not white unless it's super corroded. Angelina says, like most of the taxes people were bitching about back then were on luxury goods. The regular schmuck wasn't buying silk from Europe. And that really does speak to the larger bit of the American War of Independence people getting upset. We can debate the validity of it all, but in reality, a lot of the taxes, yeah, they didn't necessarily apply to a lot of the common folk so much. And even so, if you watch Brandon's most recent video on the whole thing, he goes into a great depth about how the taxes weren't even paying any debt or even paying the full defense cost of of the troops in North America. And people in Britain are basically paying more taxes anyway. So it's, yes, I guess on principle, no representation, but they did fight a lot of things for that would have given them probably representation. So oh damn it, wait. Thought of redactor's calling me. Let me get a thing. Wait, I gotta get a different device here. Give me a second. I'm turning this on. Wait. Wait! God damn it. Am Yoradal says, why do I feel like I need to delete my search history after this? Do you need to delete your search history after this? I don't know, do you? Angelina says, the war was some rich people could have freedom. And yeah, if you combine it with all the other different things, I mean, it's not the only thing like you and I talked about last night, but it is a reason, and you will see it in a lot of books. Not even a hot take, really. It's yeah. Getting down to it, simple level, yeah, it kind of is. Okay, Ottoman reenactor, you can call me if you really want to call me. And it says it's literally how stuff is now. America hasn't changed in over 200 years. Yeah, it's kind of wild, actually. Hi, how are you?
Are you Circassian?
Um, I don't think so, actually.
You have an interesting face. It is an interesting face.
Is it? I mean, potentially. I very potentially have a very interesting face. Yes.
It seems that you have seen a lot.
Don't even look at the gunshot wound I have here. Don't worry about it.
I will undress you. Are you a deserter? Yes or no?
Hashtag no.
Proceeds to touch your nipple. Beat him. Okay, bye.
Is that all you wanted to do? So if you guys want more of that, you can go check out Ottoman Reenactor. Ottoman Reenactor _CT. Thanks, everybody. Hope you had a great time. This just got weird. Cordell says, okay, yeah, now this is definitely weird. Pax Europe says, brilliant. Cordell says, hashtag no means no. I don't think it no means no to the Ottoman Turks. Christopher Cook, the fuck just happened? Gold says, I'm just deceased. I thought he said decreased. I am deceased like a doodle on the heights of the Charlestown Peninsula. Ian Graves says, is this a call-in show now? I mean, I guess it's a call-in show. If you want it to be a call-in show, we can make it a call-in show. Anyone can. Gorodal says, no, please. Yeah, this just got weird. It did get really weird. I don't know what's even happening here anymore. I literally don't know. But I guess it's just turned into a call-in show. Welcome to 1975, everybody. Chris is calling. Common Man says starting to go into Colonel I Party territory. No, we didn't start to go into Colonel I Party territory. We went to Colonel I Party territory. We literally just pulled out the interrogation scene from Lawrence of Arabia. Except I actually don't know the replies because he just stands there and interrogates Lawrence. Gordell says Gallipoli means no. Oh boy, we have another call-in. Hi, you are calling into the far off station. How can I direct your call?
Hi, is this Larry King? Larry? I've been a long-time listener, first-time caller.
Wow, that's amazing.
I just want to know, what do you think about what's going on outside? Have you noticed all the snow?
No, the blinds are shut. This is a closed set.
Oh, cool. Wow. Yeah. It's snowing here.
Wow, that's amazing.
I know.
What is snow? What is?
I don't know, man. No idea. Anyway, I'll let you get back to your production team.
Wow, that was great. Do you have any questions that you'd like to tell the people here live on the show?
No.
No.
Yeah, no. Wait. What is the HMS Hood?
What? For those of you who don't know, HMS Hood was a 45,000-ton battle cruiser of the Admiral class who took a shell from Bismarck at the Battle of the Denmark Strait. And she had a magazine explosion and exploded next to HMS Prince of Wales. Someone said yes, Ian. Yes, so Ian was on. Yes, so Ian came on, everybody. Anybody else who wants to be friends with me can call in if they'd very much like to. I mean, this just getting really weird anyway, so let's do it. Pax Europe says hashtag no means no was the last thing the last Byzantine emperors before Constantinople fell. Oh, we got Milkman is calling in. Hi, Milkman. Thanks for calling into the Far Off Station live stream. How are you?
Hi. I would just like to say two things.
Okay.
Oh, wait, never mind. Ian just said the Bourbonnais uses the 1776. That's cool.
Yes.
Anyway, as I was saying, so like right now I'm playing this big game. It's called Crusader Kings 2. It's like Victoria 2 and like Europa 4 and all that. But anyway, basically I had an incest baby. What do I do about having incest baby?
Jesus. You know, Milkman, I know you're from Long Island, but I don't think this is relevant.
Oh, well, anyway, what's your favorite thing about reenacting? In regards to the public.
In regards to the public. I think my favorite thing with the public is actually breaking some of those mythos things that we kind of talked about earlier. I think those are important to having a more educated American society.
That's very nice. I like it. Anyway, hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. I also want to thank the Academy and all that other stuff.
I don't know what, guys. I don't know what's going on here. Apparently this... But now we have more viewers than we had before. God, I feel like I'm now turning into Make It for the Views. Carl Wilhelm says, call him, Chris. Hey, Chris can call in. Do it. Quinn says, Pax Europa, Constantine the 11th. And we've reached the end of the... Oh, no. I guess we got more coming in here. It's just not coming up on my phone. Oh. Gordon says, I'm saving up for Vicky 3. Chris says, I don't wanna. And Autumn Rich, do it, Chris. Wilhelm says, do it. Autumn Reenactor called him a bussy. Oh no, is this... Oh God. Guys, Guys, if he doesn't want to call in, he doesn't have to. Okay? He doesn't have to. He doesn't want to. Okay? He doesn't want to. Consent is key. Consent is king. Remember? Didn't we just talk about the ASMR? Winston says this sketch is very silly and a bit suspect. Yes, it is, because this is degrading rapidly. Auto Reenactor says he does so much rev work anyways. Gordon says, are you going on report? No, Gordon, you're not going on report. I wouldn't worry about it. Auto Reenactor CT says, we Turks don't take consent. We take what is ours. Carl Wilhelm says, you do not have to. Consent is key. Yes, and that's, I think, isn't that the biggest thing that we've learned from the ASMR video? Christopher Quinn is calling. How can I direct your call? Okay, he hung up. Anyway, that is the end of the chat so far. Is there any other questions, comments, or concerns? Otherwise, we'll finish this up if you call. No, that wasn't Chris. That was a different Chris calling. Anglo-Saxon Empire, yes or no? What do you mean Anglo-Saxon Empire, yes or no? Did it exist? Did it not exist? What do you mean by that? just gonna close my phone here. One second. Okay, just thanks. Ottoman Reenactor just sent me a private message here, and he says, "Thanks for the memes. You're welcome. Meme anytime." Anyway, let's get back to the chat here. Pax Europa says Britain, America, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada. Is that what it would be? If you say so. I'm trying to mute this stupid thing here. Dreadnought says, bombard his channel with curly farb comments until Chris calls. Oh God, guys, no, please. What are you doing? It's maybe don't. Like, I've never banned anybody. Oh, okay. Comma Man's calling. Comma Man, how can I direct your call this day?
Yeah, go ahead and tell us how much fun it is carrying that halberd everywhere.
Carrying the halberd, it looks pretty.
Milking every tree on Battle Road.
It's not ideal. It's not ideal. It's probably the worst thing ever. Yeah. It's not great. It's not great. It's not great.
Yeah, have fun with that.
Yeah, it's but guys, you don't know. Oh, okay. So guys, you don't know the halberd that it's about 8 feet tall. And it catches on trees all the time. And it's not ideal. It's fun. It looks pretty. But you can see why in February of 1776, in the orderly book, they say to dispense with the halberds and pick up a firelock is the too long did not read version. And the sergeants in Boston start carrying firelocks for a very, very real reason. It sucks because it catches on trees. It's not ideal for North America. So anyway, that's the halberd. Sorry, everyone's deciding to message me here. Second, let's just connect that. All right. Chris Rickard says, I carried a halberd approximately one time and immediately pawned it off to Colton afterwards. # no regrets. Yeah, it's not ideal for fighting in North American combat because you catch it on a tree. And it's a very nice status symbol, but it's not very utilitarian. But it's definitely cool. It's pretty, and it's very proper of a sergeant, but it's definitely not designed for this continent. Gordon says, Christopher Cook, and then Colton covered it right thereafter. Yeah. And you start to see why officers in the American War of Independence very rapidly, even prior, had firelocks. Because tall pole arms in North America don't do well. Probably good on a garrison station such as something like Boston. But besides that, yeah, not good for combat. Not ideal. And that's why they got rid of them. Then they brought them back from the Napoleonic period. Well, not them, but they're actually sergeants pikes. So. Or just a sword. Yeah. You got to remember, in North America, the environment is very encumbering. I can't remember what there's a term for it that they use in it in period documents, but it's not North America. If you guys have never been here before, it's very hilly. It's obviously in the 18th century it was a lot more open, but it is rough, a lot more woods. It is a rough country, and it's very hard on things actually. We have really hot summers. Again, things were slightly less because you're talking about in this period. There's a little ice age, but um, it is warmer than Europe usually generally gets, and it's a lot colder. And now we don't get so much because of climate change, but you got a lot more. You got a lot of snow, lots of cold, lots of ice. Um, it's a harsh place here, and right now it's cold out when it was just like 60 the other day. North America is a really wild place. Not sure why anyone wants to live here. Thanks, colonization. Let's look at the chat here. Ingrave says the French got rid of their halberds in the mid-1760s. There is, however, a print of the French landing at Newport, and there is a guy carrying one. It's a shame. They look pretty, but you do see why they got rid of stuff like that. You can't just look at it from an aesthetic reason. It's a very utilitarian reason of why stuff is dispensed with. Dreadnought says, do a fan meetup. I actually don't know how many fans live in this area. It's actually something I considered if I traveled places, just because I thought it would be fun. And most of you people are normal human beings. So I would have no problem doing that. Gordon says, yeah, we're not going to worry about what the milkman from Long Island said. Dreadnought says, imagine fighting 2 world wars for the French. Isn't that kind of a hot take? I guess not fully a hot take. Depends how nuanced we want to look into that. Dreadnought says, my last comment was a joke. Oh, I know it was a joke from the milkman. Pax Rip says, New Hampshire, there's like 10 people in the chat from here. Really? Are there really? Guys, sound off if they're here. I really didn't know that. I didn't know we had such a large New Hampshire contingent. Quinn says, in this period, uniform plates, sort of the Hess contingent would carry some tunes that were maybe a foot in tar, and the average man per se, or at least from what I can tell. Yeah, I think so, but I'm not even going to pretend to know anything about Hessians because that is not my thing. So I'm not going to pretend to know anything, but I think so, yeah. At least from the small bits of artwork that I've seen. But Hessian is cool, but it's not my thing. Chris Rishka says, there are dozens of us, dozens. We have a dozen, just under 2 dozen here in terms of viewers, but yeah. Dozens! That's enough for a raid. Dozens? Those are raid numbers there. Go raid a island of Boston Harbor. Fax Europe says, in the beginning, there's like 5 people talking about New Hampshire. Yeah, there were, actually. Guess more people live here than you expect. And yes, for anyone who's wondering, we do have paved roads and running water 3 miles from the Massachusetts border, okay? This isn't like Claremont or Coas County. Quinn says, I for one am not from New Hampshire. Well, move here, because everybody else is here, or is from somewhere here. New Hampshire is the Alabama of New England. It depends where in New Hampshire you're from. If you're from southern New Hampshire, like I am, no, it's not. It's very much just like Massachusetts. It's just Massachusetts without sales tax. That's all it is. We're to about Concord. But then once you get past Concord, you start to get really rural very fast. Lots of trees, you get the national forest, etc. Quinn says, I'm the odd man out. No, you're not. Most of the people who are subscribing to me are not from New Hampshire. I can assure you that. You have a good fair contingent from Europe and Great Britain, actually. So Pax Europe says, meet up at New Hampshire Historical Society. I don't know, maybe. Well, that's something we have to consider. Maybe once the COVID stuff gets better. Pax Europa says, live free or die. Yes, live free or die, but not for the reason that people think it is. gets taken way out of context and was apparently used more commonly than expected. Everyone quotes it to Stark, but apparently I was at a thing and they said it's used by more people. So it's kind of cool. Christopher says, north of Bow is Banjo of the South. South of Concord is tax-free Massachusetts. Yeah, that basically sums it up pretty much completely. And Chris Redcoat said false. It's the Florida of New England. Kind of is, and it again applies to north of Bow. It's basically what it is. It's kind of like the Florida New England. It's actually weird because actually in southern New England it gets mixed too. A lot of people move here from Massachusetts because they don't want to pay New Hampshire tax stuff, and then whatever. It's kind of interesting actually, but that's not a dynamic we have time for today. Dreadnought says I'm originally from New Jersey and now live in the northernmost point of Virginia. New Jersey's pretty. I just every time I drive to Virginia, I've been in New Jersey. I just I hate it here because people drive so bad. That's so. First time I was in Virginia, I'm driving down Route 9 in Virginia to go to Monmouth, and someone decides they need to go to a gas station here, and it's like a 2-lane highway, and they go whoop, like okay, that's not how this works. Gordon says, when you were drafted into the army to fight and die in the Ukraine, what MRA do you think you like the most? Oh man, that's a good question. I think I'm not in the first category though anymore, being almost 26 here. I don't think I'm in the first category that's going to be drafted. It's going to be the 18, 19, and 19, 20, and then I think it's going to take a little. But the only MRE that I actually know about is because someone had showed it to me. Is the one that's basically just a McDonald's McRib in sauce in the little MRE package. Besides that, I actually don't know that many things about MREs, except rations that are prior to 1950. Quinn says, "Will any of you guys be at Wulumasak in August?" No, I don't. No, I don't think so because I don't even know what that is. New Hampshire's rights are like a rabbit. First there's two, then there's hundreds of them. It's probably true, maybe. Dugan says, I think when I said that Howe failed to close a circle, I mean to say that during the Battle of Long Island, he launched his attack too soon. I mean, maybe. But I think we may have talked about Howe in the Long Island campaign a little, the Battle of Long Island and the New York campaign a little too much here. Not sure if that's what people want to hear about again. Chris laughs in partial deafness. So I realize sometimes I actually do. Chris got all this crap on the internet one time about talking out of the side of his mouth. I realize I actually do that sometimes a lot too. Now I'm gonna get added in the comment section one time. I'm waiting for it now. Super self-conscious about that now. And Pax a New Hampshire boy road trip to go prank. Who are we pranking? Chris says, we went to a really nice event in Trenton, New Jersey. Oh, Trent, New Jersey? Is it different than Trenton, New Jersey? I'm not from Mid-Atlantic, so I don't know. I know more about places in the middle of damn nowhere, Far East, than I do about probably middle of New Jersey. So I think my geography of the United States is pretty good. Brandon, prank Brandon. Yeah, well, we're not driving to Ohio. So Winston, born and raised in Massachusetts. Yes. Better than Connecticut. Dreadnought says, how often do you eat bully beef? Last year was only twice. One was the trying bully beef video, and the second was the Men of Harlech charity march, where we went and had bully beef. And then there's a good video of Chris actually eating it on there. So if you go check out his video on the march, because I shot that, and he's going in to eat bully beef. It's actually not bad. It's just really salty meat. Is really all it is. Wollonsack is a BRR event. The 10th is too cool for organizations, only organizations. Yes, actually, though, we aren't too cool for that organizations. We don't join the BAR because they don't allow women in ranks, and the 10th allows women in ranks, so we aren't allowed in the BAR. Otherwise, I think we would. There's a potential we would, but we're not interested in throwing women out of the regiment, and that is a hill I'll die on. I have no problem with any certain kinds of people doing it. I don't believe in any sort of discrimination like that for authenticity. I can't. I'm sure I'll get added in some sort of comment section here. But yeah, sometimes the 10th probably is a little too cool for organizations. Chris Ricker says they're part of the not an organization. Yeah. Chris says it was the Trent House in Trenton. I was misremembering. Oh, okay, the Trent House. Okay. But I personally think, if we're talking about the 10th, I think it's important to be part of organizations like that, in my opinion, because I think it's a really good it's really good to collaborate with each other, as you've seen on this channel. Collaboration is important. It's the spice of life. And Angie didn't like you saying better than Connecticut. Well, I mean, Connecticut's fine. It's not the most ideal state of New England. I mean, a lot of places are better than Connecticut, probably. Have you been to Connecticut? Chris says, I also went to college in Ohio. Yeah, Brandon will talk a lot of that Ohio's not great. And there's just a lot of soybeans and corn in Ohio. Dreadnought says, are you looking to stay in the States? I mean, where else would I go? I mean, I'm not like set to a country like some people. I'm not concerned. It all says that the BAR may change. Well, I hope so, because I think that would be good. Because I believe in a lot of the stuff the BAR does. Because I think the BAR has a lot of good resources and is a good organization. So it'd be great if they let in more kinds of people. Gordon Geisenberg says the anti-social social club. Yeah, that basically sums it up perfectly. But I think the 10th has done a lot better in recent history, getting friendly with other units. 10th in the 70s. Oh man, they didn't talk to anybody. And I don't believe in anything like that. That's bad. You need to interact with other people. The Bourbonnais is also part of that organization, I think. No, they're not. Oh, and Ian chimed in. They're not part of the Continental Line. Dreadnought says you should start reenacting Indians in World War I. That would actually be pretty cool. Except I don't really look very Indian, and then I feel like I'm being inauthentic. There are some great people though doing Indian reenacting World War II. You should check them out on Instagram. They look really good. Indian is a really underrepresented British Empire impression, actually. I used to live in Connecticut. Is one of the worst states in America. It's pretty. I like Connecticut. It's really pretty. It's just I don't know if it's the best place. I've been to a lot of places in this world, and Connecticut is definitely not the one I'd be like, oh yeah, that's the best one ever. I think America in general isn't really good at making things look nice and pretty. Honestly, Rhode Island is probably the worst state in New England. Like, what is it? But Connecticut 2.0 or Mass 2.0, it lives in the shadows of its brothers. I don't know. New England's an interesting place. Andrew says no better than Western Mass. At least we don't have all those stupid rotaries. Rotaries are actually really good. People in America just don't know how to use rotaries. Rotaries are very efficient. Again, people in America just don't know how to use them. They're significantly safer when it comes to traffic deaths. People's Republic of Connecticut. Chris Redcoat says Rhode Island is the worst qualities of Connecticut and Massachusetts rolled into one tiny package. And Chris the Redcoat hits it on the head. Oh, Brandon F is in the chat. Gang's all here. Yo, yay, we're all here. That's it. That's it. The trifecta is complete. That's it. We can all go home now. Stan's live stream's over. It's B-Man. Chris says it's B-Man. And that is B-Man. That is what we call it, B-Man. Chris says, oh, he's here. Yeah, he's here. Yes, Brandon has come. Brandon has come to grace us with his original self. Now he's gonna at me because I didn't think that I don't want to live in Britain. I mean, Britain's fine. Britain is the supreme country. When it comes to in many instances, Britain probably is supreme to us, but that's fine. Brandon, another guy to call. Brandon can call in if Brandon wants to call in. Okay, he can call in, but again, remember, consent is key, people. What did we learn from the ASMR video? We're not gonna pressure anybody. Brandon said, build a wall against anything south of Massachusetts. Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Perfect. Gordon says, I'm waiting for this serene pirate republic of Long Island. Man, we're really going back in history here, aren't we? Common Man says, hi, Brandon. You missed the ASMR portion of the stream. Yeah, I don't think Brandon needs to be reminded of that video. We spent a lot of time watching that video, and then Brandon spent a lot of time editing the video of us doing that. So I don't think Brandon needs to be reminded of that video. That was really bad. Dreadnought says, Brandon, call in. Guys, it's okay. He doesn't have to. It says, literally anything the US does better than the UK. They've got better health. They have prettier buildings. Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. So probably in many instances, yeah. I mean, yeah, Brandon probably hits it right on the head. The food, though there's a curry joint in every corner in Britain. So, guys, I think he has it. I mean, we're right. Pax Sherpa says New Hampshire meetup at the gun store you met with forgotten weapons. Yeah, but I don't do a lot of gun content. You guys know that. I mean, this channel, as much as I made a couple videos with gun content, that is not the primary focus of the channel. Brandon says I am the Tiaboo. Except the Turks drink more tea than the English do. So how does that work out? If you're a Tiaboo, are you also a Turk? I don't know. Gordon says, when Vicky 3 drops, I'm going to buy everyone the game so we can have a massive game time. Dreadnought says, where does Ottoman reenactor fit in the trifecta? He's not part of the trifecta. Well, the trifecta used to be just the illustrious sides of the internet, but then we'd added other people to the group chat, like Lord Rivers and Ottoman reenactor, and so then it kind of increased. But so I don't know how we would classify the trifecta. That was just Redcoats reenact. Maybe that's the trifecta. Brandon says, oh no, I have people who edit for me. It's true. Instead they get the what do we call that video? Instead they get to be traumatized by what that video was. Angelina says, wait, didn't people poop on Connecticut during your last live stream? Yes, they did. That's happened twice now, yes. Chris says, I mean, it's CT. Yeah, it is Connecticut, so I don't know what anyone expects. It's gonna happen. Civil War Week by Week has arrived. Can't be here for long, but from Jonathan to Jonathan, thank you. Good luck and hope you reach 2000. Thank you, Civil War Week by Week. Glad you could join us on the chat. Civil War Week by Week has been one of the commenters from the beginning. So thanks for joining in. Glad you could join us. Pax Europa says, Civil War Week by Week has entered the chat. Yes, he has indeed. Brendan F says the trifecta is the pentafecta. Well, I guess at this point it is actually. Yeah. The pentafecta is, because we're five. We're at 5 now. There's B-Man, Chris, Ottoman reenactor, Lord Rivers, and myself. Yeah, so that's yeah, it is. I have to make some content by us sometime. That'd be fun. You can't handle that though, guys. trauma ASMR PTSD, says Common. Yes, lots of PTSD from that video. Though if we react to the Dragon Man video, that's going to be a whole separate level of PTSD. That's going to be that American mythos PTSD, which is an entirely different vein, though probably a little bit better than the ASMR stuff. Dreadnought says it's good the jokes to be on Connecticut and not New Jersey. Oh, well, well, I can easily start talking some stuff about New Jersey. Don't get me wrong there. Didn't I just talk about how I don't like driving in New Jersey? Chris says the multifecta. Yes, the multifecta. The illustrious lads of the internet, as the group chat is named. Dreadnought says it's good. We already read that one. Gordon says Pentarchy, it has formed a new Christianity. Secular has dropped. Brandon says there's more fetishization in that video than in the ASMR one. Yeah. And the problem with that is that it's totally one, it's this fetishization of firearms, that history isn't just about the firearms. I know that's going to upset all these people, but it's not just the firearms. And if you're just focusing on the firearms, no, you can't be doing that. It's and the problem is especially when you do get it talking about firearms when it comes to particularly the American War of Independence and other instances, Americans get very focused on it. But it very much ties into the stuff we talked earlier, where it's this mythos of America. It's not dandy. But in that video that Brandon is referencing, the Dragon Man video, which we talked about earlier, it's not great, guys. It really isn't. It really is not. I like people having an interest in history, but like Chris said earlier, you have to do your due diligence. It's, you have to. But that guy just makes all these videos of his collection and talks about Joe Biden and makes, it's fine. That's his thing, but definitely not my shtick. Pax Europa says the New Jersey Paramus Mall dwellers. Winston has to go and do some errands. Thanks for joining us, Winston. Glad you could be here. Christopher says, I think a lot of the firearms history channels would agree. Only that's their focus. Yeah, and I think so too. But the thing is, a lot of the firearms channels, particularly Ian's, British muzzleloaders, they do get the history down, and that's important. And but you just see some of these like amateur history channels, and it's like firearms channel, and it's like you just start repeating some of that really bad history. I think though, all the ones that you guys would know in the chat here are good, and they do their due diligence, and because they're really about the history. It's not just the firearm even in itself. Dreadnought says, imagine if your state's only claim to fame is that businesses that can't afford to get a place in New York City come to your city. Isn't that basically Connecticut too, though? I mean, isn't that how Connecticut works too? Isn't that like what Stamford is? Stamford, Connecticut is just a bunch of, like, we need to be near New York City, but we're not New York City. Well, Stamford is basically captured territory at this point. It's annexed to New England. So yeah, see. It's true, though. If you can make it into the city, you can make it anywhere. It's true. I mean, New York City is kind of pretty from a distance, but man, is it a hellhole. Boston's a hellhole too, but New York City is an entirely different hellhole. Brandon F says the Megapolis is literal hell. It is literal hell. Ange does not agree. What doesn't Ange agree on? New York City, oh. You try to go anywhere that's south of New York City, and New York City's like, you have to go through us, or you can go on the Tappan Zee Bridge, or you can go through the what's the bridge that's higher up? I can't remember. New York City is. I think New York City should be taken back to its 18th century appearance. That's my hot take. Andrew's mad that I'm making fun of Connecticut. Guys, we're not calling in anymore. Yeah. Well, it is annexed territory, and it is just people who go there can't afford New York City. Comment says it's discount New York City. It is. It is discount New York City. Is this a Mr. Brandon F?
Hi, John.
Hi, Brandon.
It's kind of weird. There's a delay on the stream, so I'm hearing myself twice.
Yeah, it's a couple of seconds. It's kind of wild, actually.
It is.
You think you might have to mute the stream?
Yeah, I'm taking over though. How are you?
Oh, is this it? Are you New Yorking this up? Are you just gonna?
Yeah. No, this is my live stream now. We're going to talk about Assassin's Creed and how horrible it is. Your thoughts?
It's pretty wretched, yo.
Okay, well, it doesn't really work if we agree. Actually, you're supposed to be like hostile to this. You're supposed to be angry.
Okay, wait. Let me try that again. No, it's a great video. It has great material culture, and just because you don't like it is just against the game developers.
Okay. Nail on the head there. I need to pick a topic that I can win on. I didn't really plan this out. I don't really have any entertaining or funny. I didn't think you were going to answer. I was gonna call and then pretend to be all upset and offended when you didn't answer in the chat, and it was going to be a meme. And then I was going to say, "All right, John, I gotta go to the zoo now." And I was going to say bye, and then I was going to leave and leave you to it. But now here we are.
Not everything's a meme.
I don't understand.
No, I don't understand either. I live my life as a meme, so I 100% get that.
All right. Well, anyways, I'm going to go to the zoo now. So, do more. I don't know, Rev War or World War One or whatever it is you're not doing. Do more of the thing, and have fun. Bye.
Thanks for joining us, Brandon. You know, and as Brandon just talked about the zoo, if you ever listen to a Simon and Garfunkel song, they would say it's all happening at the zoo. Anyway, thanks for Brandon for joining us on this live stream. That's it, guys. We did it. Brandon's here. You peer pressured Brandon into joining. That's it. You guys did it. The internet the internet did it. Wait, let me catch up on these comments from that Brandon had said here, because he said Boston has a little nice spots within the urban hellscape. And that is what I do like about Boston, is there are some nice green spaces in Boston, and Boston's been doing better. Though it is unfortunate that Boston Children's Hospital tore down this beautiful garden they had where lots of kids' ashes were scattered to put up a new building. It's kind of a shame. But Boston, I think, generally does try to do well with green space when it can. And Brandon says he didn't willingly go to Ohio, because no one willingly goes to Ohio, everybody. That doesn't work that way. Dreadnought says the only people that like New York City have never been to New York City. The thing with people who aren't from America like New York City because they see New York in all of our media, and it's kind of a cultural thing. Particularly like the World Trade Center in 80s movies is like, that's how you set the scene. That's how you know that your film is being set in New York City. You get a shot of the World Trade Center, and that's it. You're in New York City. So everybody then, they consume all the stuff of New York City, and it becomes kind of part of American culture. It's kind of cool, like, when you really think about it. Oh, Gordadal, it's a mate of mine, good mate of mine. I don't know how to pronounce his name here, but he says Connecticut is just the world's longest speed bump, and it's kind of true. You kind of Connecticut is the place where you slow down when you go through like Hartford or any place. You slow down to go through these places when you're trying to go somewhere else. You go to Connecticut because you're going to somewhere else. Connecticut's probably like Belgium. It's a speed bump. Gordon says there's the Horanzo, the Lincoln Tunnel, the GW Bridge, Tappan Zebra. Yeah, that's further upriver. Yeah. Don't take the GW Bridge or the Verrazano. Verrazano's like a $10 toll these days. Chris said we did it. Get it. Yep. Reddit did it, guys. You got Brandon. You did it. You can all go home now. Just go home. It's fine. Return to your homes. You got Brandon F. I mean, what else do you want? Why are you still commenting? You got what you wanted. You got what you wanted. Janet says my goal in life has been achieved with Brandon calling. Hey, if your life goal is Brandon calling into a far off station live stream, damn, that's a low bar. Angelina says, I like Boston over New York City. Yeah, I would agree, Angelina. Boston is a lot better than New York City. New York just has a lot. I want to like New York. It's really hard to. And it's really hard when it smells like every time I've been there, it always smells like piss. It's just like, I don't know if that's just when I've been there in like the summer, but every time I've been there, I'm like, it smells here. It smells. Well, Carl Wilhelm says he did go willingly. He said, Gord Idol. Okay. So my friend said that his proper pronunciation for his name is Gord Idol. I didn't know there were Gord idols. I know they're like Korean K-pop idols. I think there's Chinese ones too. And America, we have them. I just didn't know Gords had them. You learn something new every day. Ian Graves of Royal Blue Traders, 18th Century Tailor says you're not getting pasta anymore. That's right. It's not an English food. Connecticut's an English colony. Dreadnought says, when is the stream ending? I actually didn't plan. I didn't know how long it was going to go. I mean, eventually I really do need to eat lunch here because it is 1:50, but I don't know. I really don't know. I don't usually normally do these things. The last one, was like 6 months ago. So I didn't really plan for it. And it always turns into a question fest. So Gorado says, I need to show you New York City because holy shit, you don't know New York City. Well, I think maybe you do. Because only things I've seen in New York City were like, I saw the World Trade Center Memorial. I saw Intrepid. I saw Koreatown. I saw Times Square because it was near Koreatown. I think you do. I think you do need to see me show me New York City. Because I don't really know New York City. I really want to like New York City too. It does have a beautiful skyline. It's like really nice. Gordon says, the city is the greatest place on earth. All museums, all the historical places, Central Park. Well, New York is very, very historic. And again, it is of huge cultural significance in just America in general. So I would like to like New York City. What ethnic group are you? I can't tell. I'm not one single ethnic group, so that's probably why you can't tell. Gord Idol says, yeah, those are all the dumb tourist places. Yeah, they are. Unfortunately, the USS Intrepid Museum kind of sucks, actually. They don't allow you to see much. The USS Massachusetts Museum here or down in Fall River is actually way better. Gordon Idol says that listen to Gordon. Yeah, I think I do need to listen to Gordon. So what's your 23andMe then? I haven't done 23andMe because I basically already know where I'm from. So, and I already have been into the cultures that I have since I was a child. So there's no real reason for me to need to know where I'm from because it's been surrounded with me my entire life. I didn't need to take it and be like, oh, this is now my culture. I must embrace it. It's like, it's just been part of my life. That's all. Gordon says, call me a tourist despite having lived there. Maybe I'm just bogey. Grass says, individuals can't be a group. Individuals can't be a group. Sherpa says, the Intrepid Museum is amazing. Yeah, it's cool. It's just not as good and is not as accessible as like the Massachusetts Museum is. Winston said, Tom in Paris was filthy and smelled awful. Yeah, I mean, people have said that, but I don't know. I've never been to Paris, so I can't say. Yeah. And then Gord Idol is talking about the place. Yeah. You're good, Gordon. Gord Idol is agreeing with you. King George III says, I'm late, damn it. Yes, you are very late, Your Majesty. But I think you're allowed that concession in this instance. Paxtrop says, what cultures then? Cantonese and European. Exhilarating. Paxtrop says, I slept over at the Intrepid Museum in the Boy Scouts. Yeah, I think that's what everyone did in the Boy Scouts. And then I left the Boy Scouts. So not, I did that stuff as Cub Scouts. And then Boy Scouts was not for me remotely. Gordon says, slept over on BB, Massachusetts. Very fun to sleep in those bunks. Yeah, the mountain. We also have the USS Salem, heavy cruiser. We have the heavy cruiser Salem, which is kind of cool. Trinut says, talking crap about New York City and saying that the only people that like it here have never been, also me, wanting to live in Constantinople in the 10th century. Are you sure you want to live in the 10th century in general? Are you sure about that? Everyone talks about living in the past, but the past isn't as dandy as you think it is. Christopher says, I slept over in Massachusetts as a Boy Scout. Don't you live in Massachusetts? And then Max Europa redacted his message. What are you, the CIA? You keep redacting messages. You're gonna leak something? What you're worried about? Anyway, we're winding down on people here and questions, so if you guys want to submit your last questions, comments, and concerns, oh wait, CJ sent in a private comment to me here. He said, I'm still watching the stream. Just like said, Rhode Island should probably be part of Massachusetts. I mean, it's very similar in culture and everything, except historically way back, it wasn't, but today it kind of is it's a similar place. But historically, no. William Conant goes down to me like, I'm making a colony. That's the too long did not read version. Apex Europa says, all they do in the Boy Scouts and Boy Scouts is do stupid arts and crafts. I think I also got over this sleep at Putnam Park in Connecticut where they do a mock battle. I don't know. Dude, I don't even really remember Boy Scouts that well. Wasn't necessarily a time of my life I enjoyed. Christopher says, now I grew up in New Hampshire. Keep up. I also live in Connecticut, Ohio, Kentucky, and someplace else. I can't remember. Can't remember. Story of my life. Comment says, yeah, the past kind of blows because all of the smallpox and dysentery. Yeah, the past isn't always great. It's cool because we want to learn about the history, what happened, the material culture, all these different things, but it's not always the best place. Jonat says, it's time for John to climb back into his hole until the next video. Yeah, I actually do. I need to make a bloody video. It's been a long time. Just get busy. That's all. Pax Europa, I'm a bad speller. That's why I retract messages. Gotcha. KG3 says, was literally just reading about how a great-grandfather of mine joined the Continental Army in Connecticut and then deserted to join the British Army. Not even he wanted to be in Connecticut. Yeah, this is a Connecticut bashing thread, isn't it, today? Connecticut is very pretty, though. I do like Connecticut, and there's some cool places in Connecticut, but Gordon says, should I take a demonic possession of my wife who doesn't love me? I need to secure an heir for my Corsican dukedom. Well, I think you might have to go and talk to the vicar in the shire in which you dwell for that one. Winston says, only thing I found I was not enamored with New York City was the cost of parking and the traffic. Other than that, it's cool. Yeah, New York has bad traffic. Though every city in America has bad traffic if you've been to a city. Expressways in cities aren't expressways. They're parking lots. God, you guys keep coming back. You guys like go down to 14 and then you come back. All right, guys, send in your final questions and then we're going to finish this up because I want to go eat. But if you don't have any questions, Winston says, how do you want to handle the halberd video? I don't know. That's a very good question. I don't know. That might just be a sergeant's kit video. I don't know. Need to make the Rev War content. There's a lot of content that needs to be made, but you also need to put the research into the content. So most of that part's done. So you just need to shoot it. That's the hard part. Christopher says, Witchfinder General reference. Yes, that's right. It is. Straight from Attaché Films. Guys don't know him, check him out. Great channel. It's probably one of my favorite channels, actually. Pax Europa says, any Tumblr House fans? Oh. Gordon says, Norfolk Manual plus halberd. Yes, I have both of those. I need to practice with the halberd. It's just it's just a little different than the firelock. So actually, maybe that's a good video, is to do the Norfolk Manual with the halberd as a video, just as a drill video. That might be a fun one to do, and how to do it like that. Actually, we might do that, Gordon. Plus sergeant, yeah, exactly. Gord Idol says, I miss being a sergeant. You don't have to be a bleeding officer. It's okay. You don't have to. No, but Gord Idol is a really good officer and a good mate of mine. But he does miss it. Except as a light infantry officer, as a light infantry sergeant, he doesn't get a halberd. So sadness, but he's a good. Oh, Mustafa shared a video. Dreadnought says, "Don't let John eat lunch." Is that what this is? Is this? You guys is this like a hunger thing for the freedom of someone? I don't know. With this, I will starve and give freedom to India. Comment, just make a compilation of it hitting trees. Yeah. Actually, if CJ, who you guys saw in the chat earlier, who's in my company, if his mom takes videos throughout the season, he could make a compilation of my halberd hitting the of trees. God, that's gonna be terrible. No wonder they got firelocks. Resolute Path says, how do you like the new Frozen 50s Man episode? I actually haven't seen it, even though it came out last week or the week before. I haven't had a chance to watch it. I really like to sit down and watch Attanché's content and really enjoy it, because he's probably my favorite content creator, in terms of the filmmaking, the history, the research. He's probably my favorite channel. Now I'm going to get added by everybody. Gord Idol says, but being a sergeant is the best. Yes, I do enjoy. I have enjoyed being the sergeant over the past 6 months now. I think this is kind of the position reenacting I've enjoyed. It's a little more organization. The cat herding isn't always necessarily dandy, but it's fun. It's definitely a new thing to learn. It's a different position. It's interesting how sergeants are not necessarily a ranker, but they're not an officer, as Ian would call it. They're like a discount officer. It's kind of cool, actually. But I enjoy it. I like having my fancy, pretty hat. I like having this hat. It's really pretty. Very nice. Hat by Mr. Matt Brankel. I like the halberd, though I need to also figure out for events that are post February of 1776, I need to figure out either a carbine or if the short musket is just totally acceptable. But I also need to get a smaller pouch and a double frog. So little things before I complete the 76 sergeant's impression. Christopher says, our officer won't allow any competition. Yeah. No competition. It's a fixed economy. And Gordo says, and carrying a firelock as a sergeant is even more the best. Yes, it's. I just gotta get the kit down for carrying a firelock. The halberd kit is all set, but I just need the belting for a sergeant with a firelock is a little different, so we gotta get that taken care of. For now, it's basically done. But man, firelock, yeah. Could have a carbine though. Gordon says, I know that is how I got into the rabbit hole with steps. Also, no one has done a video on the Norfolk manual, so it'd be a perfect 3-prong video. Yeah. Oh, you were replying to Winston. Yeah, I think it'd be cool to do it. What's interesting about being a sergeant with a halberd, because we portray 1775, is that there are no other sergeants with halberds, really. The 17th, there was one guy who, for their early Ireland, like 1774 Ireland impression thing they did in Virginia, carried a halberd. So that's, you don't see it because most of the War of Independence was sergeants didn't carry them because they don't work in North America. Pax Europe says no more comments after this one. You can do it. I don't care. Just eventually I do need to go. Dreadnought says, do you collect metal die-cast soldiers? I do not. There's only so many things I can collect and do, and I can hardly keep up with the things I do now. So, probably, that's just nothing I'm going to have time with in the immediate future to do. I have all my film cameras over here sitting here, and I don't even really have time to do those. Though I like using those in places that aren't here. I'm more inspired other places anyway, so... Winston says, being an officer is a pain, and being the officer commanding a reenactment unit is excruciatingly annoying. Yeah, I kind of guess it is sometimes, isn't it? I like where I am because it's just, it's above the guys. So you get to kind of organize, and I like organizing stuff sometimes. Though the thing about being a recreated reenacting sergeant is no one, you can't contact anyone on the same bloody platform. Some guys it's more convenient to talk to on the on Facebook Messenger. Some it's email. Some it's calling them. Some it's in person. It's wild. That's the one thing that probably isn't always ideal. But that's the usual stuff you get in an organization or antisocial social organization. Pax Europe says, I'm just joking. He said he needed to eat. I did eat something before this stream, so and had some water. Ingrave said, yup. Gordon says, oh my God, could you imagine if Drakenfell comes to the Bunker Hill this year? I don't know. Is he supposed to come this year? I knew nothing about that. But yes, Bunker Hill. I don't know. It should be an interesting event. Just hope it's not hokey. I don't like hokey events. That is my biggest pet peeve, is hokey events. And events that promote really bad narratives in history. It's bad. Not okay. Gord Idol says, yeah, it's a nightmare trying to communicate with all unit members. Oh, it's something, isn't it? I don't know. It's kind of cool. It's interesting. You could probably do a really cool and interesting case study on what the best way to get in touch with people is and how receptive and responsive people are to messages. I'd read that case study. Gordon says, I don't know, but the mad lad could come. Oh, tell me about your worst hokey events. That's a hard one. I don't necessarily think there's one that has spoken to me that this is epitome of hokey. Oh, Gord Idol basically probably has. Gord Idol says that bad hokey events like ones organized by a certain commander unit in Connecticut. Yeah, those are probably the hokiest events. I didn't really ever go to many of those. I don't think I ever went to any of them. But those are probably the hokiest events, at least in this area. I think in New England they do try to be good about events. That doesn't always happen, but they do try to be better. I sometimes have some problems with the Lexington Green because it really promotes, I feel, a history that isn't necessarily true of April 1775. It gets a little, it's not bad. It just gets a little, it just buys into a little of the mythos of America again, I feel, is my problem with it. It's not completely hokey like some events that you'll see in Connecticut, but that's, I don't think I've ever been to something that's supremely hokey, at least bad, that's completely and utterly wretched. Definitely been to some events that were stupid, though. But yeah, in general, don't go to Connecticut events. It's not worth it. They're just bad. Connecticut vineyards, you always sometimes actually forget that they exist anyway. Not too many of them. Gordon says, honestly, the worst hokey event is going to be any American Civil War in the South. So like all of them. Yeah. I've seen some Civil War stuff. It doesn't always seem like it's great. But yeah, hokey isn't great. And I start to get a lower and lower immunity to hokey. I almost just won't go. King George ats me, Lily Bolero or the British Grenadiers? Lily Bolero, totally Lily Bolero. I actually would have put Lily Bolero as the end card for 18th century videos, but Chris already uses Lily Bolero when he started putting on an end card. So I chose to just use Sarabande by Handel, as it's from, you see it in Barry Lyndon, so fine. It's good enough. It's a motive and evocative of the 18th century. So, but Lily Bolero, definitely, 100%. Don't think I like British Grenadiers as much as because I hear it all the time and it's overplayed. When I hear it on the fife now, it's just like, eh. Winston says, anything in Rhode Island, Spade Day. Yeah. There's some, what's redacted his comment? I sometimes think the littler, so many bicentennial events, I know they're somewhat cultural of New England, but it gets a little stupid. If you're going to be having a reenactment, the public should be coming away with something that doesn't butcher the history. And I'm sorry, but some of these little things do just butcher the history. Matt McDonald says Yankee Doodle, yeah. Gord Idol says Gas Mayday is appalling. Yeah. Anything I've ever seen from it is definitely not something that's necessarily ideal to be. Not something I'd ever really be interested in unless it got better. I don't like picking on events, but Gord Idol says we're working on something better for this June, and it's a 2/5. Yeah, well, I hope that it turns into something a lot better because I think there's a lot of potential for it, but it's kind of hokey. Chris says I've only done the Gaspé Day parade. Yeah, the Bourbonnais have done it. Yours are probably the nicest looking thing there. This is anything in Rhode Island, Gaspé Days. They're back to the bicentennial. Yeah, and that's sort of the thing I don't like about the bicentennial events is you get so much focus about being a bicentennial, but hokey is really the term that some of these things are. Comment says, don't remind me of Gaspé Days. Yeah, comments in the 10th foot. So he knows all about these kinds of things. Gordon says, oh man, that Bunker Hill event that's on YouTube from the 70s that we watched at Matt's. Yeah. That's, you had these guys and they're like in these red shorts and these weird forage cap looking things. It was really bad. Really bad. Dreadnought says goodbye. Goodbye, Dreadnought. Gordon also says Gaspé Days really is an event. It's more of a community fest, so feel free to pick on it. Oh, that's true. Gord Idol found a loophole, so now we can trash Gaspé Days. It's a community festival. Yeah, community festival, actually, those actually do tend to be the ones that end up being kind of hokey when they tend to be a festival. Not mutually exclusive, but they do tend to. And guys in the here who don't know it, Gaspé Day is a celebration of when basically the too long did not read version is people went and burned a British revenue ship. Chris says, well, Rhode Island is more important in the French River history, and we can't ignore them. Yeah, and it's important, and that's what I think is important about these French units is people. I know Ian has talked about this before. Is that people don't seem to have a concept of why the French are at these events because they. I don't know if it's a failing of the American education system or what it is, but a great deal of American independence is owed to the French. Pax Europa says, and Turks. Karl Wilhelm says, does bicentennial mean anything that happened in 1822? Technically now it would be, yes, but the bicentennial, we're talking about the bicentennial in the 1970s. Oh, and CJ messaged me here on Facebook saying, I just added Halberd hitting trees compilation to my video list ideas. Well, boys, you're going to see that in a CJ the Whap. So look forward to it. Oh. 1776. Obviously, that would be, the bicentennial ones. But bicentennial had some wild things going on with it. Wild things. Not always great things, but sometimes that's just the way life is. This is Walgreens. On the corner of happiness and something. All right, guys. Is that it? I think that's, oh. So the bicentennial was 1976 year birth. Yes, that's when you were born, Chris. Bicentennial was a wild time. Ford was president. Nixon had been impeached, or not impeached, he had resigned. What a time to be alive, the oil crisis. So what are we going to do? Let's go and reenact. What a time to be alive. Anyway, guys, I think that's about it. Unless this is important. I don't think this is going to be important.
Live stream or something together.
Oh, Sam, Ottoman Reenactor says that we should do a thing together, which we will. So anyway, guys, thanks you for watching this great live stream that has lasted 3¼ hours. This has been fun. We'll do it again, though if we do these again, maybe 3 hours is not the ideal time, but this has been fun nonetheless. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, you can check out the channel's social media links that are somewhere on the page. They'll be on the About section and are in also the description of this video. So check them out. It's probably the easiest way to get in touch with me if you need to for some reason. I know people like getting in touch with me to ask questions or whatever, and I do my best. And if I don't know the answer to the question, I will refer you to someone who does know the answer to a question. But anyway, check it out. And thank you again for watching. I'll talk to you guys all again soon. And bye, everyone. Oh, thank you, Jacob, for catching the end of the stream. Our Australian boy here. Yes, Pax Europa, you have been here from the beginning. Thanks for joining us. Anyway, guys, thanks for sticking around. And I'll hope to get some content out soon. And we'll do another one of these live streams soon. And maybe we'll do it at a different time. So if you guys ever, maybe I'll put out a poll actually, and you guys can say what time is better, best, and most convenient for you. Toodles!